Hello, everybody. Welcome to the THAC 2026 post-results special. I am your host, William of AW Studios, the host of not just the podcast, but also THAC 2026 as well. Joining with me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Sean Willis of City Penta.
Hello again.
And today we've got 5 guests. I just had to count then. Yeah, so probably I think possibly the most guests we've had like in like all at once, probably in a podcast. But yeah, we've got starting off, we've got Austin from Frame 5 Studios. We've got Jared Dudebrick. We've got Sam from Logger 74 Productions. Trevor from Student Ninja Nerd. And we've also got Chris from Gold Prick Productions.
Oh.
And I can't believe I managed to do all of that in one take. Usually it takes me.
I'm impressed. You went
That
straight
was
through.
flawless. Yeah, nailed it.
First
Nailed it.
professional.
And of course, all the guests are at least previously of the Frame 100 podcast and entered this year's TAC and have been entering TAC for a long time.
A few
Regularly.
years now. Yeah.
Good bit.
Yeah, so you are kind of legends of the sort of the Brickfilm podcast sphere, I guess, and also kind of been doing it for before we were doing it. So yeah, you're absolute legends in that regard. And yeah, it was really cool seeing you all enter once again in THAC. We'll get a chance to speak about all of them as well, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I guess first off, I'll ask, like, how do you guys feel about this THAC?
I think it went really, really well. I'm very happy about one particular entry and how it placed, which we'll probably joke about. I think for us in the group at first, we were like, shoot, I don't know, like this year we're feeling kind of sluggish. We're not really making any good pacing, just not sure about the ideas. But I think by the end, all of us were pretty happy with our entries. So it was definitely starting kind of at a lower place than usual, but we ended up pretty high at the end.
Yeah, I think I can't speak for Austin.
Yeah.
I can't speak for Austin, but I would say at least for the 4 of us, we started off. It was rough. We got the theme and we got the ideas, and then we were like, "This may be an okay year. I don't know if we'll place, but we'll have fun doing it." And then Austin came with the picture via DMs, and he was a little struggling too. So we were all kind of in the same group there. So it felt nice, but I think towards the end, like Chris said, we kind of came together and got through it, and I think we were all pretty satisfied.
For some context here, I had sent the script to Chris for my entry, and Trev had jumped on a couple minutes after we had started workshopping a little bit of it. And I don't think at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris and Trev, you didn't have your ideas yet, or you had like your semblances of ideas. So we were talking, I was running through it, and we were just like, oh yeah, like how are the entries going? Like, I gotta get my gotta finish getting our ideas. I think at that time, I gotta check the video, but I think I had 40 seconds animated at that point, and I think that was at like 11 a.m. I think 10 or 11. It was pretty early on. But yeah, no, I doing these again. It's like riding a bike. I kind of got back into a little bit of flow state. Like last year's, I did not remember how to do most things, and now it's.
Yeah, what's it called? When you would come to us and you were like, I've got a full script and everything. We're sitting here, we're like, we have concepts of a plan. Like we have nothing currently. Like we are sitting with, a bunch of ideas just randomly discombobulating in our heads.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was rough, but like I think I know for the 4 of us that were streaming together, like I think everybody kind of was like throwing out ideas to each other, and that helped out a bunch. Just the collaborative nature of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it stuck, which I thought was great. And I mean that's the only reason my video even came to pass, because I had like a solid like 4 or 5 different like kind of themes I was going after, whether it be like pirates or
Like it's only been a month, but it's like I'm already blanking on like what I was kind of coming up with. Um, but yeah, there was like maybe like a horror idea I had out there or something, and then eventually like Jared kind of helped hone me in on what I ended up inevitably doing. Um, and so yeah, just it's that first like 3 hours that is always, I feel like, the most
I
stressful.
agree.
Just because you're trying to hit the ground running and just go off and get something, out there.
Yeah.
You've got the last like 2 hours as well, which is also stressful, but that's just because of the time constraints. Getting to the finish line. But
Yeah. For the first hour or two, I'm always thinking, "Oh God, I'm never gonna come up with an idea. This is impossible." That's one of the worst times.
It's not coming together.
I told myself this year if I didn't love my idea by 11 a.m. that I wasn't gonna finish and just say screw it. Because in the past I've hated all my ideas. All these guys can agree that one year I wanted to do Classic Space, and then it was right around the time Among Us was coming out, and I think somebody put in our chat like, "Yeah, who's doing the Among Us animation?" And I instantly lost the want to do Classic Space. Like it was so bad. So this year's like I don't.
Tanked.
Yeah, these guys can say like it was. I got mad. I think that was the year
You got frustrated. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I think I hit the table. I was living in my house at the time, but this year is like if I don't love the idea by 11 a.m., I'm not finishing it. And I was so lucky that Jared and really everybody in the group helped me kind of flesh out what I wanted to do with mine. So, and I would like to say I turned 30 on THAC this year, and I don't know if I can do it anymore because I woke up the next day and my back, my knees, like it felt like I had an old man hangover. So we'll see if next year happens.
We'll see
again.
31. Here we go.
31, baby. Give it up for day 31. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I felt terrible after doing it too, which I feel like is even worse. I'm very freshly 25. Like I'm definitely the youngest, I think, of everybody here, and it just, like, I felt awful. Like my head was pounding the entire time. Like my arms and all the appendages just like felt super weak and noodly. And like my stomach was in knots just from like all of the stress of just getting everything done. I know I had also had some like life stuff going on the day before that like already didn't have me in a great spot with just, all my body feeling harmonious.
Excuses.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm
not gonna lie.
I'm like, next year's gonna be rough too. I already know.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm way too used to this. I had to do last year. We had a spacecraft launch that I had to do at work, and we had to be there in the office like for a straight 24 hours. And it's not like THAC where you're actively doing things and your brain is actively engaged. You have to just sit there with the headset on and wait for NASA to go, okay, now you can turn on your payload. So I'm just sitting there for hours just thinking I would rather be doing anything else, like animating. So I think at this point I'm just used to it. I could do another THAC, and I guess the psychological damage comes later, but I'll be doing this till like I'm 90.
Coming for that.
I'm glad you can.
You're more than welcome.
And I'll drag you guys with me.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to
Kicking and screaming.
Doing that at that age.
We're gonna end up like the same retirement home. You're like, fine, I can rest. And I'll come in like, it's that time. Like, oh, God, this guy.
It's a weird thing of like.
What was the mod element? I forgot.
It's a weird thing because, like, I've been the host now since 2022, so this was on my fifth THAC, and it was weird because like it was like fifth THAC as a judge, and it's weird because like I look back at it now and I think about I really enjoy like watching like documentaries. I watched I really enjoyed yours, Austin, actually, and it's funny because like I watch them. Like I kind of like hear people's like stories of like their process and everything, and I kind of think like, wow, like maybe I have it easy being the host, like compared to actually entering. And I think back to like the last time that I actually like successfully entered in like entered successfully, and it wasn't like a joke. was when I was 18. That was THAC.
Wow.
In 2019. So like, I think about that now. I'm like, I've not going back to it now. Like in my mid-20s, I don't know if it's not the same as just like doing it every year. It's like suddenly I'm now like that much older, and like
it does make you feel like you're kind of not part of the club because you don't have an entry to show and you don't have all these stories of like how horrible it went during the 24 hours, all the things that went wrong, and all those like solutions you had to find. It's just like, oh, I didn't enter, sorry.
And I think a big part of it though is because of like the way that we do it now in terms of like the submissions, because you know we it used to be that like the host would basically do all of the kind of like accepting all the entries and doing all of that like by themselves, and it's become a lot more of a collaborative thing. We have like a good organized team sort of doing separate shifts across, we had Nertnort who believes in from New Zealand, which really helped because I just like messaged him. I was like, do you mind like doing the shift which is like early in the morning for everybody else? And you're like, yeah, sure. And I was like, that's really great. That's like really helpful. But yeah, so we have a good kind of like sort of sort of rotated kind of like schedule now of like being able to accept the entries, and also just like there's always there's a good amount of people always able to kind of like answer the questions that people inevitably will be asking on like the Discord, and and sometimes you have to keep checking the forums, even though like you assume no one's going to use the forums. There's always going to be someone who's going to ask a question on there. So but yeah, like Germany,
it's like you're just throwing a question out there in the ocean, and it's like, who's gonna get the message in the bottle? Like, where's that coming from?
You might hear by the end of THAC.
Yeah.
It always becomes a worry when you're like T-minus 5 hours out, is if I send this in and if there's an error, is someone gonna be able to catch it in time, or they be swamped by like 20 other entries? And that fear just only grows the closer you get to time's up.
Yeah, I think we only get swamped in the last hour, would you say?
Yeah, probably. I think it kind of like it's weird because we tend to have quite a few people. I'd say we usually have like 3 or 4 people on call in that kind of like at the end, like sort of the last couple of hours, and it's usually quite smooth, like especially when you've got a couple of people on there, like up until like the last like hour, and you're feeling like, oh, you're getting ahead of it. You don't even need to be like, you don't need multiple people doing this at the same time. And then suddenly you look at the inbox and you've got like 20 and you've got 30 unread messages and you've got 40 unread messages. And then like, we're literally still going through them like an hour after the actual deadline. Because like, even though they're all like submitted before then, you're still having to kind of like catch up. Inevitably it probably is quite kind of frustrating for people who have like, just made it the deadline, but then you've got like it might take like even like 45 minutes an hour until you actually hear. Yeah,
but before that they are one at a time, so that if we do need to ask people to submit a new version, if it's like if there's like 4 hours left or something, it will be seen, because it's they all come in one at a time. We check them one at a time. So there were some entries where we said like, hey, can you replace this? Can you change this? And submit it, before the time is up. And they did.
Are y'all watching each entry when they get submitted?
Yeah, we want to have somebody online. We pass it off to a different judge if we want to go to bed or something, but we try to have somebody online throughout all the 24 hours.
What's like the earliest that you guys get entries? Oh, sorry.
Oh, Lord.
Usually probably like, I'm trying to think what the earliest we had this year. We don't tend to get that many. We get like maybe like 1 or like 2 or 3 in the first like 12 hours probably. I think we had the first one coming in, probably like 8-9 like hours in probably, I'd say. It's interesting because you do get like, I remember specifically last year we had like literally only 1 in the first 12 hours. And I started getting this kind of like this kind of gut-wrenching feeling of like, wait, we're 6 hours from the deadline now. We've got like 20 entries. And I started to think like, what if for some bizarre reason, this isn't like the big one that we're hoping it's going to be, and then like 150 plus entries come in the last like 2 hours, you know.
It's like, oh no, is this a fluke this year?
Yeah.
Like that's I can imagine that being a stressful feeling.
Yeah.
I will say, like, for this year, I think, I submitted mine 10 minutes before the deadline. And I think it might have been the fastest I got a response. Like, I think I got I'm looking at the emails right now. I think I got a response like within like 4 minutes. At that point I was like, I know it's going to be seen. I'm not like stressing like I used to be back in, previous years. Like, I know somebody is going to see it in time, but it's like you 10 minutes, you're just like, oh, okay, it's really hitting now. Like, this is getting scary. That's like, I think it was Bert L was the one who had gotten to it, and I was like, thank you, like, you guys, the stuff you guys are doing, you guys are madmen for running this, and we always appreciate it so much for just bringing the community together.
I want to say at this point, Trevor is always the last one working on his animation.
Always.
Every single year.
Always.
So I'm always, I finish around like 3 or 4, I think, maybe 5. And then I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then I will just lay and just check Discord and be like, well, he's still animating. Yep, he's still going. So this year I was like, I don't know if he's going to finish. I genuinely don't. And I just remember Jared finished first and was like, all right, guys, I'm out, and just left the Discord.
Yeah,
Just left.
Irish
And I
exited
was-
that Discord quick.
And we messaged him. I texted him. I was like, no, you get back in here. And he texted back, new phone,
said,
who missed?
And I went straight to bed.
So I was like, I wish I could do that.
I'm trying to remember though. Wasn't there one year where you didn't finish last, Trev? Like someone else did, but then the next year, then you finished last. So that victory was quickly undone.
Yeah. Who was it that finished after? Was it you, Chris? I can't remember.
Was it?
I have like a distinct memory, but I can't recall. Because usually, like, I try to stay on till like the last person's done, just because like it sucks to be the only person in a voice call. But this year, I could not do the whole thing. And then I remember one year I was actually the last person in the call.
Was it when you were doing Yulfin the Swole or whatever it was? Because you kept having to roll the dice to get the numbers.
That might have been it.
Yeah, because I think
that sounds right.
Yeah, because I remember, because I think I was the first one finished, because I just kind of called it.
I'll check this documentary again, but I think that sounds correct.
I think that was the year I did Detective for Hire with Dr. Scar, and I couldn't finish it, so I was like, I'm calling it. And I think I remember I saw Discord the next day, like, you were the last one to work on stuff. So.
Okay, this is jogging my memory again. I think that might have been it.
You're welcome, because that is still to this day my favorite entry that you have for that is you'll.
Thank you. It's funny because when people, family members or friends figure out that I do animation, they'll be like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I can never think of like the first one to bring up, and so my siblings will always just say, "Pull Bjolfund," and I'm like, "All right, fair enough. That's a good one."
It's cool that you mentioned Bert L, because Bert L still does a lot behind the scenes, except in the entries for like most years of THAC, and he's online very early in the morning on the voice call where we have the rush, and because he goes back to THAC 1, so that's pretty cool. But I never get over the fear of when it's like 12 hours into THAC and I'm asking, okay, how many entries do we have? And it's like, oh, we have 3 entries. I'm thinking, oh god, for some reason we're not even going to get any more. Like, that's it. Oh no, it's going to be
we've hit our peak.
A fail THAC every year. But then they all fly in at the end.
I gotta say, I was really happy with the kind of the counts this year. Like, I think we were kind of like anticipating that like 2025 was going to be like the big year for like, the 20th anniversary. There's going to be people that have like not entered for years, making an effort to enter. It got to a point where so many people wanted to enter that I was struggling to get judges because they all wanted to be part of it. I was like, well, all these people want to enter, but I've got no judges. What am I going to do? I was anticipating this year that like, okay, so we are going to allow ourselves to like, accept like, it's going to be sort of lower than than like what we got last year, and I think it was really good because it's we were very close to what we've had in previous years. Like we found a nice kind of average, and it was like very very neatly kind of fitted in as like one of the sort of trajectory that we were in like before 2025. So that was really nice to see.
Yeah, and it just doesn't take too long to watch the playlist.
Yeah.
Which is always nice. I like to go through and check everyone's out and see, who was. It's really impressive seeing what people are able to accomplish in such a short time span. It always blows my mind, those few entries that come out that are just like, how? Like it's hard to wrap your head around it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's great to see.
I thought it would be like a good idea for some reason to, as soon as the playlist dropped, I just sat in my bed and watched all of them the whole way through, just nonstop.
Nice.
And I got to the end of it, like my wife had gone to like do something. She came back. She's like, "You're still going through these?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but there are so many really unique ones, and there was obviously that last year, as I'm sure we'll get into soon. But to Sam's point, I think what people can do in 24 hours is always so awesome to see, especially when, like, kind of a joke, like you try to work on something on your own and you just can't do it, but then THAC's involved and you suddenly can put together everything in 24 hours. Like, where is that the rest of the year or whenever I want to do anything else? But
yeah,
I feel like I watched through the playlist the day after, or at least a couple days after, and I watched through it, and then when the results come out and y'all announce like something for 21st place, and I go, I don't remember watching this one. Like I feel like I feel like it blends all together, and I just I gaslight myself into thinking that I've missed like 10 of the top 25s, THACs, and so I had to like go back and go find that one in the playlist and be like, okay, maybe I did watch it and just forget it, but it got 10th place, so congratulations to them. But like, I don't know, I think my brain just gets so tired after THAC, even though I probably should take like a week break and to get into the playlist, but I always do it the Sunday afterwards because it's always a good kind of like.
Oh,
last one. I'll quickly.
It was actually.
He said, "I'm in the middle of talking. I'm done."
Yep. Did you go back and watch the playlist again? Was that what it was?
Yeah, I did. That was weird, right? I just missed the last
time
two.
around.
I'm caught up now. That's good.
You were like, oh no, I've not actually watched any of the guys on here, their films. I need to watch them.
Like, I've had enough of them because I had to work with them during the 24 hours. I don't need any more.
I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of y'all at this point, man.
Sick of y'all.
Yeah, it's like I already saw your films. Well, the making of. I'll guess the ending. I gotta admit, with the THAC playlist, I'll start it and then stop it and start it and stop it, and then if I actually finish it, it's just time. I'm unfortunately that guy. If I am subscribed to you, the odds of me seeing your video are way higher. I'm just gonna be straight up. Right. Unfortunately, this conversation's reminded me, Star Wars Studio and I have this really goofy THAC tradition where he'll create his naked fighter entry, and it's just the most mind-melting, who knows what in the world. And I always leave some sort of like really silly review comment that looks like some pretentious film essay or something, and I forgot to this year. I need to actually do that right after this podcast. So that's the checkbox on my THAC watching that I need to check off real quick.
Yeah, I feel behind this year too, but that's also, I know I've had a lot of life stuff going on. I moved actually like just before THAC happened, and so I participated. I was back home for the holidays, and so I decided to just keep working at home since that was the usual environment I had been in. I think last year is the only year I ever did THAC in a location that wasn't in my parents' basement. And so, I don't know, there were aspects of doing it last year when I was living at my own place that I really liked because I didn't have a gigantic abundance of Lego parts around me. I didn't have my whole collection with me, so there were some nice constraints I kind of had to work within. Um, and then like this year, it was like, okay, I'm back home. I'm in my usual environment and everything. And I remember like telling all the guys here the same thing. It's like I feel so overwhelmed because like I don't remember what I have. Like I haven't been in this environment uh for the most this year. And so it's like I don't remember what I have, like all the parts that I've accumulated over the years. There's all these new sets I've picked up that like still either hadn't been put together or putting them together, it got done so quickly and just kind of like on autopilot that it's like, okay, well, I can't remember what elements are in these sets, so I don't know if they're going to actually like help me at all with the builds I have to do for sets and props and everything for my entry. So I was just like, this is like such a weird 180 from the prior year. And that, and also just my collection of stuff it has gotten to a point where it's like I don't have enough space to store all of it and to keep it organized in a way that's going to allow me to effectively work on builds in such a quick time frame. And so yeah, it was just it's like a weird kind of like overabundance of problems to have. I mean, they're good problems to have, obviously. Like who doesn't want to have more Lego stuff lying around? Um, but it's always like so interesting having to like get back into the mindset of like, okay, yeah, here's where this is, here's where that is, like how to just bringing it all together is always so challenging. But it's a great challenge. It's it keeps me coming back every year. I mean, I think this is the 7th or 8th year I've done THAC, not in a row, unfortunately, because I know there was one year I couldn't do it. I was staying with somebody and got stuck in some winter weather, so I was just like, I didn't have any of my equipment, I didn't have any Lego around me, so I was just like, well, that's a wash this year, but we'll get them next year. And so
I think it was
yeah,
2023 because a bunch of us got snowed in or had to deal with winter weather.
And
yeah, something around then.
I think that was the year I did it by myself. We didn't do a live stream.
Yeah.
And I made it like 4 hours, and I was
felt
like,
so
yeah, I'm
bad.
done with this.
I felt so bad not being able to hang out with you because it was just like the weather. Like I was in an environment I couldn't do any of this stuff. I couldn't hang out.
And I think
and
that's
chat with people. It stunk.
And I think that's the thing I like about THAC is I love the animation, but I think it's getting to be like on a Discord and just talk to you guys like all day. And it's kind of what drives you to keep doing it because when I did it by myself, I proved that if I don't have somebody here with me to like suffer with, then what's the like I'm not enjoying it. And that's something like I've told people, even my parents, I was like, THAC really takes a toll on you, but it was like I never expect to win. I'm never in it to win. I'm always in it just to hang out with the fellas. And I've known them since I was in college. In Austin, he actually introduced me to all the guys with Ace Brickman.
Oh, it was awesome, man.
It was all Austin. And
I honestly forgot about that. I you said that, I'm like, wait, what?
yeah, you guys
long ago times.
Yeah, I think most of us because that's something I've been doing a lot of reminiscing lately. Weirdly, I had like Discord starts like sending you like notifications of like when you like friended somebody, and it was like your friend anniversary, and it was with Brickhat Studios with Marcus, who's another collaborator of ours, who I know he unfortunately couldn't do THAC this year. He's helping out with his family business, and so he was just like he just didn't have the time. But like it said that we've been friends on Discord for 8 years, and so I was like reminiscing. I'm like, I think like I've known everybody here for like 10 years. Like I've been doing brick filming. I know I've been doing brick filming stuff since 2016, and so it's like we're coming up on 10 years of knowing these guys, a decade of it, and it's just baffling to me like the amount of stuff that's happened in that time and how we've all changed and grown and developed, not only as brick filmers, but also just as people. And it's great. I mean, like these guys have been a complete godsend to me in terms of just having friends to collaborate with and to chat with about who knows what, who knows when. And so, yeah, it's like, 10 great years. I'm excited for 10 more.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's actually really funny because you mentioning about like, coming up to like 10 years and stuff. I remember it was in, I think, 2017 when I was a guest on the Frame 100 podcast. And we were talking about, because I just finished Ant-Man, the first series of Ant-Man at that point. And I was like, oh yeah, episode 4 just come out. And literally 2 days ago, it was the 10th anniversary of the first episode. Which I was like, no way.
Wow.
God, old.
That's crazy, man.
How time flies.
So I've been half of that time I've been working on the next one, but it will happen.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm still working on Guns of Cordis. It's fine.
Hey, I'm still working on episode 5 of Ace Brickman. Like, we've all got projects going. So.
Yeah. I'm actually not looking.
Yeah, a deal to die for is still coming, guys.
That's the one we can still make jokes about, is A Deal to Die For.
Oh my.
Yeah, the amount of winter horror film coming out Trev jokes that I've heard, it has to be in the millions at this point. So
when I got my new laptop, I actually went through and looked at all the memes that we had made about that, and I think I sent them in our Discord. But God, there were so many of them.
There's a lot.
I gotta admit,
it's
the funniest
good times.
The funniest one we've ever made, though. I believe it was when you had recently moved to your new place, Trev. I think it was a couple of years ago, and you were trying to get something for dinner. I was like, you know what? The heck, why not? I got Domino's rewards points. I'll send you a pizza. And so we get the app loaded up. He's like, hey, thanks. This is great. So we get the pizza, and on the notes to the driver, I said, when you hand over the pizza, please say, quote, when are you releasing A Deal to Die For? So this pizza delivery guy comes up to Trev, looks at his receipt, goes, what the heck? And just says, hey, when are you releasing A Deal to Die For? And I see my DMs on Discord just light up. All these messages from Trev, like, what is going on?
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I what was it? I might be mistaken. I think I was back home. I know I was back home. So I don't know if it was like right after I graduated or something. No, it was before that. It's like I can't remember when now. I can't even remember when I started working on it. I know it was right before college, which that would have been 2019. But yeah, this guy brings me a pizza and says, "Where's your horror film?" And I was just like, what?
He sent me a picture of the receipt, and it was printed on the receipt.
I still had, there was like a sticker that it came with that had it printed out on the label. I still have that. Like I've kept that to this day. It's sitting somewhere at home now. I don't think it's here at my current place, but I know I need to get it here at some point. But I've literally had it like sitting on my wall at home, just like a constant reminder that I need to finish it at some point. I won't, but the reminder will still be there.
Maybe that guy's still driving around town being like, man, I wonder if he did finish that. He'll never know. He'll never know.
He'll never know. None of us will, myself included.
It is great how
Alas.
THAC provides this sort of excuse for, like, groups of people to get together and, be on calls and have something to... an excuse to just have something to be around. And it's not too long. It's not... it is kind of a commitment in its own way, but not too much of a commitment. And I'm seeing the Steinrei poster on the wall on William's camera as well, and that is making me think that's kind of similar. As like Steinrei in the German community is also a great excuse for people to just have this event every year where they get to meet up in person. That kind of feels like what's really important about it. Like that's what really keeps it going year after year is the sort of the excuse to actually have this community event people get to meet up.
Yeah.
I mean, community is
wholeheartedly agreed.
hugely impactful.
It's almost like a prison sentence with these guys.
Okay, first off,
24
nice.
hours. Man, I gotta
like nice, but now I'm not.
gotta
Shackled up with these guys.
gotta watch what I
Jared's
say and do
animation
on my
wasn't even that
webcam.
funny.
Whoa. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah, that's heresy. I still laugh like a hyena
You know
when I
what?
see the fridge.
It's all good Among Us. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
I can relate in a way where it's like, yeah, it does feel like, you know, we have to keep THAC going every year. Like, we can never leave. We can never quit. Like, we have to make sure somebody's organizing THAC and somebody's accepted the entry.
Never give up, never surrender.
It is like a prison sentence. It's too important to quit.
It's almost
It's like death and taxes. It comes for us all. Yeah.
It's almost like the 8th circle of hell.
Damn.
I will say though, like
In the best possible way.
putting together my entry this year, not so much last year because I just decided on a whim that I would come back for that, but I had, when Chris and Trev were like, yeah, I'll voice, I literally I go out to like the dining room and my wife's sitting there and I was like, babe, the boys are back. And she was like, what? I'm like, no, just, you'll see, just wait. So no, getting to have pretty much everyone involved for this was awesome. Even getting Matt to come out of mothballs to do CGI for me was probably the most impressive part of my entry. But no, it was awesome. But Penta, I have to say, you are probably the biggest staple of my THAC experience. So this whole time, or this past one, I just put your documentary of THAC on repeat, and I just played it through the whole day. So like by like the evening, I was just saying it out loud as I was moving through it. I was like, oh, time to restart it. Boop, and right back. So
Pretty nice to hear.
Yeah,
And
no,
you know, of course, like that history video, of course, is way more niche and it's longer than all the other ones. So like, it doesn't have as many views. But I do notice that it does, you know, get a bump every year. Every THAC, it gives it a little bit.
That's hilarious.
It's always Austin.
That's how you know I'm entering. You're just refreshing the views, like whoop.
It's like 57 views. Yeah.
Nice to have a video that people will keep finding every year.
Very well made.
Yeah, you know, I could probably recite the whole thing from memory just from editing it for so long.
That's I know whenever like any of us are animating on a call, Sam in particular tends to be the culprit of this, where he unlike the rest of us most of the time, Sam tends to be the one that actually animates things correctly, where you actually have your voice lines prior to the actual animation. And so Sam is usually the one who I know, right? It's like, I don't do that. Why would I do it that way? The correct way? I don't want that. But yeah, Sam will usually be the one that like we are constantly hearing the same line over and over and over and over again, to the point where it's become a part of our subconsciousnesses. And it's great though. It's so funny getting to hear, like, Jared, I feel like, is the one we usually get to hear on repeat all the time. It always makes me laugh. Yeah.
Or you get to hear the Dr. Scar voice like 7,000
Do it for us. Come on. Give us a sample.
Which one do you want? He has like 4.
You know the one. Come on.
Say the line, Sam.
Got too much
Say
pressure.
the line,
Too much
Sam.
pressure.
What line? He has so many. Anyway.
Actually, it's fair. It's more of an onomatopoeia than anything.
It's true.
That's true.
But yeah, I think, I animate things. I don't know if it's correctly, more of like,
It's correct.
I like to like torture myself by doing that.
We call it most optimal. You can do it the other way around, but it really does help if you have sounds to like match animations too, so you're not trying to like reassemble later and figure out what's going on.
But what's really interesting for when we do THAC is during our stream, we always find like a vocal stem that we just repeat all day. And one
Oh,
year
this
it
is
was,
true.
what was it? One year it was oh, what was it?
It
You
was
Are
the
My Dad.
Vine.
Woogie Woogie
Yeah, the
Woogie.
Vine.
Yeah,
You're my dad.
Hmm.
just on.
I want to say that was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
We just get
that was my
delirious. We
first
just get
stack with you
delirious.
guys.
That's all it is.
Mhm.
Actually, I
Yeah.
think it would have been about
It's-
6 or 7 years ago.
That was my first stack with you guys.
Oh.
That's when I first did Dr. Scar, because I remember. Oh my god, I just forgot it. But yeah, that was my first stack with you guys. I think my first live stream with you guys.
It is always funny when there's a live stream and it's in the middle of the night and like, you know, everyone kind of stops talking because they're too busy on their entries, and you can just hear like 5 dragon frames going all at once, just the same sound effects, just over and over and over. And over. Yeah.
Every 10 seconds, yeah.
And you'll hear as well like a voice line being repeated a couple of times.
Yeah,
like,
just
"Whoa, whoa."
Hi, that would be me.
That is Sam. Yeah, every time. I fell into that a little bit this year, but not too badly. So I feel like that's always one of the most challenging parts when you're actually like ideating for your entry each year. Is it's like, okay, am I gonna put myself to the hell of actually having voice work in this entry, or am I gonna try and keep it silent? I feel like I usually fall victim to wanting to actually have dialogue in mine, as I did this year. And it's always a tough thing to balance.
I gotta admit, I enjoy not having dialogue in my THAC entries. I'll probably do it again someday just because I do enjoy that kind of writing. But man, the amount of stress that's removed from having to try and write a proper script and then get voice lines and then wait and thinking, oh man, I mean, I'm taking time away from them. I don't want to be too greedy with my lines. Being able to sideline that for THAC is honestly really nice.
See, I'm worried if I don't put dialogue in those entries, simply because if I'm going to convey like the theme through just visuals, like I don't want it to be super obvious, but then I would be terrified of someone not catching the theme, which I regrettably did in like back 2017, the Unlikely Alliances year, where I just literally had Penta say alliances. I find it unlikely. Like I hate myself for doing that, and I'm glad I got away from it. But I figured out how to just do that without being like, oh, here's the theme. But yeah, I don't know if I could do zero. I probably could, but I don't think I would be able to do it as well as some others have.
At least you didn't
I
put
think
like
you could.
Revelation in like the video title. That always bothers me. Like, no offense to anybody that does it, but like it always just irks me for some way. But whatever floats your boat.
The only pass is fulfill. Mr. Fulfill.
Yeah.
It's the best one that's come out of all of the themes.
So I was gonna do Dr. Scar again this year. And then I was like, oh, like Revelation be like, oh, he's been doing THAC and he realizes that it's, he messed up on the theme or something like that. And I said it, and Jared goes, oh, I hate it when people do that. And I was like, well, we're not doing that this year then.
Yeah, this year there were so many entries
Not happening.
where
was like,
Revelation was that, oh, it's been a brick film the whole time, and oh look, there's the camera, and look, there's the lights on the edge of the set. There's so many of them. And we were kind of watching through the playlist, saying like, I really hope nobody was thinking to themselves, I have the best idea ever. This is gonna blow everyone's mind.
I mean, I feel like
okay.
it would be like if you made a drinking game out of that, it would be lethal. I feel like.
Oh my god, we'd be dead.
Yeah, everyone was straight trash. I was
Passed out in the ditch.
I will say, going through the playlist, I went through basically the first half of it with my wife. Like, we'd get to like the 8th one of those, and she would be like, "Are you serious? If they do what I think they're gonna, they did it." I was like, "Geez, okay." But yeah, I was. Though there were a fair amount of them that were done very, like the one Johnny Thunder one with like when they were in the museum, I think. That was probably my favorite one of the films that went with that plot line. It was super funny. I was cracking up on the whole time. But to echo Penta, I was like, there's got to be like 30 of these in here.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
Yeah.
but yeah,
I mean,
some of them
a
are
little-
well done in their own right. But my favorite meta entry was Der Handelsman made one where, like, it's about him not knowing what to do for THAC, and so he just recreates the THAC announcement video with him
Yes.
in Lego, and so that it fits the theme because it's the THAC announcement video. I thought that was funny.
What I really loved about that was that, like, for one thing, he did like the Lego version of me, like he got like the right kind of like face and hair, I think, but also he got the poster. He actually literally printed out the poster and also the calendar to scale, and I just that was
so
brilliant.
great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're gonna do that, that's a creative way to go about it. I feel like a lot of the this is my THAC revelation entry videos are made by like more inexperienced animators or people who are new to THAC, and so it's like it might sound like a really novel idea at the time, but in their defense, I haven't quite read the room yet on what people expect from THAC entries. So
Right.
I think it's something that kind of goes away in time. I sort of leaned that way with my first few entries of making the theme remarkably explicit. But then from there, you kind of realize, oh shoot, more people are implicit. That's kind of the best way to get someone's attention without making them think, oh, I did see this a few entries ago on the playlist.
I feel like I've had more experience really like with Brawl than I have with THAC when it comes to like really making something like some of my best work actually from it. But like, you know, looking at the theme, and it's actually interesting with Brawl because it's, you know, you spend more time thinking about it. But it's interesting because I think that when it comes to the theme, quite often I do try and make the theme quite like very implicit, as you said. And it's interesting because I will be like halfway through it working on it, and I will kind of ask myself, like, does this actually, if I was watching this now, would I get the theme? Like, and you know, I, as you do when you're like, whether it's any part of the creative process, you like whether it's the writing or animating anything, you're always going to have that point in time where you're like, oh yeah, this is not working. And so, part of that can also be like, is that this theme is like, this is not fitting the theme, or like it's not like either it's too obvious or it's not like, you know, it's too vague, and you know you're getting that idea in your head. But then it's interesting because like usually when the result is when I've finished the film that I'm kind of like, I feel like it works, you know. When I compare it especially to like other films that are like on the playlist that have done other, you know, sort of other things, and like, oh yeah, like, you know, the ones that do stand out quite often are the ones that are not really like hitting you on the head with like, this is revelation, you know. But no, it is interesting because like I think this is another thing as well with like timed contests is I find it very easy to, while I'm working on something, like whether it's like a line of dialogue or whatever, feel like every single thing I'm doing is the most obvious thing. Even if it's not, but like you're thinking like, oh, because I'm doing this is, everyone's going to be thinking this, you know.
For sure.
That was the worry I had with my entry, where I thought, is it going to make sense when people actually see it? And then right after the results, you left a comment on my video where you basically said explicitly what you thought it was. I'm like, oh, thank goodness, that's exactly what I was thinking.
But
Yeah, it is always really funny because it's like, I know we had mentioned it prior, like there tends to be like a similar through line that people go down each THAC. I mean, last year it was the full fills, and then this year it was kind of the revelation of, you know, oh, that's my creator, or I'm in an animation, like those sorts of things. I will say though, like, it's always so cool to see the different ideas that come about, because like I think you look at like just, you know, the five of us who are here, like the entries that we all had and how vastly different they are. You know, you've even like Austin and Sam, you know, even though they're both kind of in the space genre, there's still like a lot of differences between the two of them. Going through the playlist this year, I like, because I know when I was coming up with my idea, I had thrown around, as I'd mentioned, I had thrown around a bunch of different ideas, and eventually went through with like the one based on vampires. When I was going through the THAC playlist, I was dumbfounded to see that somebody else had also done basically beat for beat the same thing that I had done. So I know, like, shout out to Toma and Kermit Productions, because like I don't know how we both came up with the same idea of a guy gets invited over to a vampire mansion in an attempt to eat him and feast on him. Like that.
That was a good
It's
entry
crazy
too,
to me. And it was a great entry. I loved it. Like there's aspects of it that I think are way better than what I ended up coming up with, and vice versa. Like it's super cool the different interpretations that can be had with just just looking at the theme, which is crazy.
It has happened to me before where, yes, I'm thinking, I can't believe somebody came up with the exact same story. And it's not one of the obvious uses of the theme either, but it's just the exact same.
No, yeah.
But I was thinking, we were talking about
crazy.
the dialogue. I was considering entering THAC this year, and I was trying to come up with some ideas for how I might manage it and like save some time to make it possible. And I was thinking, okay, I'll do no dialogue, but maybe I'll do voiceover. So that, if you have voiceover going, you can just like you loop a few frames of like a fan spinning in the room or something just to keep some life in the frame so you don't have a still frame. But I was thinking like, yeah, maybe I'll do film noir, like murder mystery, but that's like one of the most obvious uses of revelation, surely. But I think there weren't actually too many of those in the playlist. There was a really good one that plays pretty high.
Mighty did one, I thought was really
Very
good.
well done too. That was
good one too, yeah.
That was great.
Johnny Sorrows, yeah, that was a great one. I also think it was a genuinely really good kind of like interpretation of like revelation, and also kind of a fun kind of like parody, I guess, of like that genre as well. I really. Obviously, that got to like 14th, I think. So yeah, that was really good.
Mislabeled Poison was the murder mystery I was thinking of. That was also really good. That ranked.
Yeah,
that was pretty great.
I enjoyed that one a lot as well.
Trev, your entry, you brought it up where you're like, oh, how did someone think about this exact same thing? So since I'm subscribed to you, right, I obviously watched yours first. So then I was going through the playlist. I was like, how did someone copy Trev? How? But then I'm like, no, it was just the same thing. But for a second, I was like, I don't know how. Amazing. I was floored, but yeah.
And also, like, to be clear, like, I mean, I was throwing around a bunch of different ideas. Like, as we've been chatting, I actually remembered it's like I thought about. I was like, okay, pirates, maybe zombies, maybe something with like chefs or like cooking, and just kind of like ideating stuff with the guys. Like Jared was actually the one who had put me down the path of like do stuff with like vampires and like a group getting together and that sort of thing. So if anything, I guess actually it's Jared. You probably somehow like had some telepathic communication with Toma and Kermit, and that came to be. I mean, it's fascinating. Same wavelength. It's great.
I mean, it's not impossible for two ideas to just simultaneously come together without any sort of crossover. Heck, I mean. What was it? The one year there was two movies about like a special ops guy trying to save the president, the White House. Like two movies that came out the same exact year. They were not connected to each other whatsoever. They were both an independent production, didn't cross over, but they had the exact same plot. I think this is just another like case example you can put of two people did the same exact thing. There was no cheating off each other's homework at all, but here we are.
I mean, my favorite example of that phenomenon, like historically, is probably Dennis the Menace as a concept. Where like there's the UK version of Dennis the Menace and the American version that sort of came out at the exact same day, and there's like no connection at all, which is just kind of insane.
It's not impossible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I always think of Paul Blart and Observe and Report with Seth Rogen.
That is another good one, yeah.
Yeah, like they came out so close to each other that, yeah. Anyway, and the movies you're thinking of, Trev, was Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down.
Okay, those are the names.
Yeah.
Why I know that, I have no idea.
There's a pointless video about it that's really funny, and I just remember seeing that, being like, oh wow, that was a thing that I did witness in my lifetime.
I guess there's also the not to go into this like direction of non-brick film stuff, but there is also, I think, Armageddon, and there's another film that was also
Deep Impact.
yeah came out at the same time as
That
well.
was another pointless sub video.
But yeah, I know it is interesting,
Yeah.
like that how those sort of like weird coincidences happen. But I think it's just a case of, I guess, when you've got like 145 people all individually making something, that's it's just kind of one of those weird things that like you're given the
same
theme.
prompt,
Yeah, you... but yeah, no, it is.
It always goes back to vampires.
Sometimes
It always does.
it does feel like almost a sort of additional mini contest of like seeing who's going to rank the highest with the idea that everyone's using.
Yeah, you see, guys, it's a contest within a contest
exactly.
within a contest within a Yeah, how does it keep trickling down?
I mean, what quite often happens is if Starbuck Studios and Joko are both making Johnny Thunder entries, they quite often both place, and that's always the thing of like, who's going to go first. But actually, it's really funny. I think back to there was years and years ago, and I can't remember if it was a THAC or I think it was a THAC. I remember there were two entries, and this was way before I was like hosting it. But there were two entries that both featured a horse, and I remember there was like one that kind of ended up placing quite highly, and I remember going onto the forums of Bricks in Motion and commenting, "Oh man, this was so great! I really love this one. I'm so glad it did so well." And I commented on the one which didn't place. and I was like, oh, I still cringe at that. And I wouldn't bring this up if it wasn't like 10 years ago, but you know.
So it's well and buried now.
I still think about that though, you know.
Well, your heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
Happened for the best of us.
But yeah, actually,
I'm not gonna lie, the results this year were pretty great overall. I mean,
Yeah.
like this might be jumping too far ahead, but I'll throw it out because I see Jared there with the smile on his face. We were waiting in the in our server, just looking at the results go by, and out of curiosity, thinking, man, I mean, where are we gonna place? And I said, Jared, pretty sure you're gonna get top 10. He's like, I don't know. And then Austin comes in at 8th, and we're like, hey, looking pretty good. Got some representation in our
Pretty
group,
solid,
and then
yeah.
we're slowly starting to converge, and you know, with each entry coming out, it's like the odds are less and less, and suddenly 5th place Jared. I'm like, I knew it. There we
I was
go.
Literally said in
It's
our,
that fridge.
in our private chat, I was like, if Jared's doesn't get top 3, riot. But then it came right away, and I'm like, okay, this is fine.
Riot averted.
The moment Jared told us his idea and the way when we watched it, as soon as I watched Chris's reaction in the webcam, I was like, Jared's got it.
Yeah, that's how I knew it was gonna be good. Like starting in the morning. I mean, y'all, Sam can remember this. I was filming the first scene. I went, oh my god, I'm so rusty. This is gonna be awful. And then I finished filming, and I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. And then I got to editing, and then I'm sitting there. It's quiet in the late middle of the night, and then I get finished, and I go and I start laughing to myself because it's just so stupid. And Trev gave me like a great like sound effect note for the egg timer, and I was like, I'll see if this works, and I put it in. It may have been like the greatest note I think I've ever received in the history of notes. And then Chris watched it and then died.
I do what I can.
And so I knew I was satisfied. So I was satisfied either way if I was going to place or not. But obviously we came out on top, so it worked out in my favor.
Yeah.
When it comes to just like getting ideas out there, like I mean, I mentioned before, like Jared really helped me come up with mine with going down the vampire route. And I know, Jared, you were struggling a bunch too, and you know, when you started throwing stuff around, like I was like, well, why don't? For some reason, you said something, and it made me think of a song. It made me think of a song called "I Think I Left the Stove On," and I was like, go run with that. Like, just try and do something with that. Yeah, just run with it, literally. And then that ended up prompting the
refrigerator, yeah.
the refrigerator joke. It's just, being able to throw ideas, like, again, it's great. Like the stuff that could come out of it.
what I love about it as well is that, like, you know, it's like a revelation within a revelation. So like the actual title is itself
Exactly.
is kind of like, you know, at first you think like, oh, okay, yeah, so you know, you kind of get the idea like from the start, like, oh, this is what the revelation is going to be, and then it kind of like, yeah, to like hit you then with the kind of like the plot twist at the end, was really clever, and I think it was just like so perfectly well timed as well. Like you said, I think that
it hits so hard.
yeah.
I knew
I
that.
think
After
it's really Sam's voice acting of him being a female wife stove that really cracks me up every time. I think that's like my new like daily vocal stem. I don't know why I say it like every now and then for no reason, but it just cracks me up.
another thing I thought of too.
Honey?
Yeah, right there. Another thing that kind of hit me recently, because I've been doing some research for Lego Studio stuff for another project and seen a lot of older films, and I realized the way that you kind of design the set, Jared, and the way you have the camera angles, it kind of starts off like a more classic brick film, kind of like, you know, conversational. Starts off as a little bit of like a back and forth comedy sketch, and then it just quickly dissolves into this surreal appliance, whatever you'll never ever expect. So you kind of get this false confidence from the very start.
I had people at work asking me questions about my animation. I was like, mine's not as great. Go watch Jared's. So I like would send it. Our HR lady, Valerie, she was like, so how'd you do? And I was like, mine wasn't great. So she showed it up on the TV, and everyone's like, oh, that's really good. And I was like, so I'll show you a better one. So I showed everybody Jared.
Let me show you peak.
Yeah, and I showed everybody Jared's, and they were like, why didn't you do this? And I was like, because Jared's better than me.
No, that's not true at all.
But yeah, I suppose we probably should probably talk about the results and the entries. Sort of, we should probably start from the start. I'm thinking it's probably a decent enough time.
I did actually want to actually quickly touch on like both like Student Engineer and sort of Locker 74's entries a bit, because also if you are actually on the podcast, you know, might as well talk about them a little bit as well. And I'll start off with, I guess, Locker 74. That like I mean, you know, we always have like a very long kind of like, I say, like kind of what's the word, sort of list of like potential placing entries, and this one was definitely one that I really enjoyed. You know, that was definitely on that list. I thought like you told a really good story, and obviously it's quite short, but like I thought that your actual interpretation of like Revelation was really good as well, and I think it was quite. I like the kind of like subtle kind of like, you know, the way you kind of put it, you kind of revealed it at the end. Like yeah, I thought it was a really good entry. So yeah, I wanted to sort of to say that.
Well, so it's really funny. Jared brought it up. Is every time I have brick stuff lights in the animation, I never edit them out. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep them in. Like, it's just too much work to edit them out. And I remember, I think it was like maybe 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and I was like, this is gonna be extremely short. So I had to like duplicate a couple shots to make it the length that it was. And God bless Bert, because I'd submitted it and I was just about to sleep. I was so close. And then I got an email and it was like, hey, I can't see some of the mod elements. And I was like, all right, let me get up and figure out how I can solve this. So luckily I did take some pictures of the set and was able to point stuff out. But yeah, I that was probably one of my better entries. I still think I've got some that are a little bit better. But that one, I think, aesthetically wise, lighting wise, it's probably one of my favorites that I've done.
It's actually
I was
really
thinking when the live results were going, you know, as soon as the top 25 starts, it was like, whoa, this is hard to place in, you know, if we're starting from these sort of entries.
yeah. This just was quite funny because I remember being on the other end of that when once you submitted that entry and we were kind of talking about it on the call. I genuinely, after Bert kind of like was sort of brought it up, I genuinely thought like, wait, I thought his hair was blue. I thought that was the mod element, and then when you replied with like the here's the proof, I was like, oh wait, his hair wasn't blue. I would have just literally kind of like just accepted it with the assumption because of the color, because of the lighting.
Good to know for the future use. Sam. Keep that in mind.
That William always thinks that hair is blue. There we go. That's what I need. I'll just next time the mod element's like, yeah, that's totally blue hair.
Just
That
get
actually
just
been really easy as a mod element.
And what's funny is the last animation I actually did before this was Dead Man's Prize, but even before that, I didn't submit anything since last THAC. I haven't done any animation since last THAC, and this was new to me because I'm trying to get back into my animation. I moved, I downgraded my space, and it was actually Jared that was getting everybody hyped up to do THAC. As he started going through all old THACs and all of our old entries, and he's like, I'm really feeling animation again. And then that got me going to be like, okay, yeah, I want to get back into animation. And it just snowballed into now I'm finally working on episode 5 after 3 years of not doing animation. So
nice. That's good.
Jared is very good at being
I'm a big
bad
enabler.
influence.
I'm a big
Yeah.
enabler.
He
go
really
with
is.
that.
We texted after last year's THAC. We were texting every maybe couple weeks because I would just get a random burst of like, Jared, I want to make a film right now, and he was like, yeah, do it.
We have
I won't
Between
help
me
you,
and-
but do it.
between me and Jared. So Jared helps me with Ace Brickman scripts. And what's really funny is I also have like 2 other scripts that Jared has written for me to animate with like an idea I've had that are still sitting in the drafts that I just never started, never did anything with. And so if I'm ever like, I need a break from Ace Brickman, I got an idea in the chamber ready to go. So he's killing it over there.
What I'm hearing then is that 2026 is the return of Atman and also Ace Brickman.
I don't know if 2026 is the year, but I'm trying.
I think it is.
I think you can do it. I think you can do it.
All right, everybody, let's not
Let them fight. That's what I want to see.
let's not
Make
put a
them
time
fight
limit
each
on
other.
this because Ace Brickman is a big undertaking. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
That's why we let you do it and we don't do it. So yeah.
I mean, so far every one of you, I think, well, in the group that was in THAC, every one of you have at least been in one episode or 2 of Ace Brickman. So, except for Trevor, I miscast you in episode 4. I'm so sorry, my guy.
Yeah, thanks.
I went back.
Appreciate
I
that.
went back and watched it again, and I was like, "Oh my god, this was a bad choice. I'm so sorry, Trevor."
I even remember while doing it, I was like, yeah, I'm not right for this. I don't know why he came to me for this.
Because
This
I
is
wanted
terrible.
you in it, and now I'm like, I should have got somebody else. I'm so sorry.
That's funny.
I think Marcus is the only one who hasn't been in an episode yet.
Yeah, I got to get him in there.
Up.
Yeah.
And I guess we gotta pressure him into that Zelda brick film. I'll throw this
There
out
we
in the
go.
wild to see how he feels. Now he feels like
No.
he's pressured, but without any opportunity to defend himself. Just saying.
We'll make him do it. Don't worry. We'll get Jared on it. Jared's good at convincing people to get back into animation.
This is true.
Actually, yeah. So, I would also say the Friday Fight Night by Sea Ninja Nerd as well. We have talked a little bit about it already, but I did very much enjoy this. I actually very much enjoy both of the vampire THAC entries. They're both very good in their own way. But I cracked up a lot when with the live action scene, like live action, like clip when he's like sniffing him, and it's like I thought that was like, yeah. I mean, I always do love a quick kind of live action Lego gag. And I really like this one. Again, it's really nicely kind of put together and a nice kind of like really well executed, and like actually like generally good interpretation as well of the theme. Like I said, I like both the vampires trying to eat guests Brickfilms. And luckily they actually do have
It's
quite
like,
a
let's get that
different
subgenre going.
they both have quite a different kind of like ending as well, like, you know, so
Yeah.
To be
Yeah,
honest, Trev,
I know.
it's not public on your channel.
yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm
Yeah.
working on that right now. As as the
Had to
day
mention it.
kept going, it was like the script I had initially written, I think was like 2 pages. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be about 2 minutes, which isn't like too crazy. Like I feel like that's doable. I know I've done videos that are kind of in like a minute and a half, in that sort of range for THAC before. Um, and so I was like, okay, this seems doable. And then as the day kept going, I was like, okay, yeah, just trying to come up with the idea, I think, has really taken away most of my time from the day, unfortunately. So there were like lines I was asking voice actors to do that I know kind of needed to be scaled back a good bit, and like a lot of jokes that I really liked and really wanted to keep that I just had to scale back and just not, progress on any further, which I was bummed about. And so, I mean, the thing the most like looking forward to kind of like polishing up. I'm working on kind of doing like a director's cut, so to speak. Just because I ran out of time on the day, I wasn't able to do much sound design at all. Like I think there's like the door opening at the beginning, because I was like, I need to have that. And then there were like a few other cues here and there, but sound design is also like, that's my bread and butter. Like that's my degree. I've got my degree is primarily in post-production and doing sound design. And so I just was like, I was happy that I was able to just kind of let it go and just have it, out there and exist without needing to have all of that included. But definitely when it comes to having it like publicly out there, I was like, I want to add in a few things. Doesn't have to be much, but just have some more in there. And so that's, what I'm working on at the current moment. Yeah, that was that was the one thing in like the whole zeitgeist of everything that needs to be completed to get a video done. I was like, I guess I gotta drop the sound design. I'd much rather have the jokes in here and the visual gags that do exist. The sound design. As much as it pains me to have it take a back seat, it'll take a back seat.
Now, just for context, Trevor, what do I call you in our Discord server?
You don't need to talk about that. We don't need to delve into that.
Every time
I'm a stickler for sound design.
Every time I post an animation of like a draft or something, I can always count on Trevor to be like, I just see him, like, I'm just picturing him just going, like, cracking his knuckles and typing like a whole paragraph of what I did wrong for sound design. So the fact
it's not what you did wrong. It's what can be. But I try to have an opportunistic point of view, and so
I'm about to give you a compliment.
It's what can be.
Just settle down. The fact that he like dropped some sound design for that, like sacrifice it, is a testament to how badly he wanted to finish that, because that man is a stickler for sound design. So I the fact that he dropped that, I was like, man, he's really serious about getting this done.
It just needs to get out there, yeah.
I'm actually really relieved.
And I mean, I'm very proud. I'm proud of it, despite that. Yeah.
I'm actually really relieved to like get an answer as to like why it's currently unlisted, because I was genuinely thinking like, oh, are you actually like unhappy with the film? And like I really hope that wasn't the case, because it actually is very good. So yeah, I'm glad that's yeah.
No, yeah. I simply just, I was like, I want to have a little bit more polish on it before it's out there. And so yeah, I've had a lot of life stuff going on at the current moment. Otherwise, it would have been up and uploaded, with the results when those came out. So soon it'll be there. Work in progress right now.
I know it does.
But I mean,
pains me to release something where it's not up to my standard in some aspects that I'm super particular about. Yeah.
I mean, that's how I felt with like.
Yeah, THAC is.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. So yeah, I was just gonna say, I think I had that feeling with in 2024 with when I released the Abman film for Brawl, and I remember thinking that at the time that was like that like Cut Off and Brawl can end up being like my only film of the year, like as it is with like THAC for like a lot of people, and not getting the sound design done for that, like it really kind of, and also some of the visual effects and stuff, that really kind of like for me that kind of dampens how I feel about the film. Like I made a director's cut like 6 months later that is much better, but even then I was like, it's the only Ant-Man film that doesn't have mouth animation, and that really annoys me as well, because like that's a staple of the series, is that they have mouth animations. And I've been doing like this with the work I've done so far on the next one. I actually am going to have like printed assets that are not printed assets. Sorry, they're the actual kind of like animation assets that I think there's like one on Beatman did, and they're like these ones that you can actually buy. They actually sold them, I think, on Etsy, I think. But anyway, yeah. So like they look like sort of printed. They look very kind of good texture, like printed textures. And what I've done is I've literally kind of erased the mouths, and everything. All the mouths is going to be done like in post production with like proper like, you know, looking like prints. So yeah, to go from like the old mouth animations to having one film without any mouth animations at all, and then doing that's just gonna always annoy me. But yeah.
Yeah, that's very much like when it comes to how perfectionist I am about everything. It's always a challenge. It's always a challenge, and it's like, okay, I know what I'm capable of, and the fact that I'm not reaching that is a bummer. But I also recognize I'm working under very tight time restrictions, and just all these different sort of criteria that are not holding me back, but it's a different circumstance that I'm in, especially when you're doing THAC. That it's just like you kind of just have to sit back and be like, I would much rather at the end of the day have something to show for myself in doing this contest rather than have nothing at all. And so, that's just kind of the choice that you end up making. That little live action segment that I have in there, that one shot, that was partially like why I went that route with that one shot, was because I was like, it's going to be so much quicker to just throw my phone up and get this shot off super quick. I think it took like 2 minutes versus, having to move my camera setup, get everything, lined up the exact way I wanted it to, have the lighting, make sure it all matches, and then actually animate the dang thing. It's like it was just going to be so much quicker. And I was also like, this is so much funnier too when it just randomly cuts to live action. It also gives the smoothness and kind of like the slow motion, like, because it's kind of supposed to be like a slow motion effect. I was like, this just comes across so much better when I just have this little live action shot. It lands, all of the aspects land much better here. So I was like, yeah, that's what we're going with. And on to the next thing, and so off to the races from there.
Oh, and one last thing, I guess, before we head over to the top 10. So we'll make a brief pivot to 25th place for Chris's entry, Old Man the Goat, which I really love this entry. I think it was really great, and I mean I put a big comment on your YouTube about like the set design. I really love the kind of like this slightly kind of like out of focus mountains. There was a nice kind of sense of like space, and I think the execution of the actual kind of like match cuts with like his past life. I think that all kind of like, I know you were saying earlier you kind of worried whether or not that like that actual sort of part of the story was like clear, and it I mean, to me I found it very clear like what was happening there, and I thought it was really well executed.
It was seamless, like the difference in time period. Normally when you see those, they're not done super well because you're like, okay, he clearly like just changed the set, but like you couldn't tell, and I was like, this is probably one of the best ways I've seen it done, and it was just like something you'd see in a non-brick film, right? But no, it was very good.
Alex, that was kind of the worry is I knew I had to have that flashback scene to some capacity, but that was like the first thing that was going to get cut if I was running out of time. Because I figured at the very least, if he fights back, it could just be the reveal that, okay, he knows that he's a sword. But I figured if I could find some way to visually indicate like young him versus old him and show that he's still the same guy in two very different contexts, that would at the very least make the theme hit a little bit harder. So I'm glad that came across, because that was the one like big risk of the film where I thought if this doesn't work, it's not going to work.
I mean, I kind of thought the goat walk cycle was the highlight of that animation.
That was hard. That guy just keeps falling over regardless of what I do. Trying to balance him between studs on those two little like, because it's the two little segmented nubs basically. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's been a bit of an in-joke between Chris and I in that for a lot of the animation stuff he's done in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't had a tripod. And so most of the stuff that you've done has been camera on the tabletop, just pointed directly straight at the subject. And that's what I didn't even like realize just in the hubbub of like me trying to do my own entry, trying to get lines off to Austin and lines off to Jared and you know, just all the different stuff being juggled that day. I hadn't even fully clicked, like it hadn't clicked for me that he had mentioned that he had bought a tripod and like was using the tripod on the day. And when I finally like, when all the THAC stuff had finally like washed away and we were done for the day and everything, I watched the entry and I was like, wait, oh my God, he's doing the thing I've been asking him to do for ages, what feels like ages now. This is amazing.
Body move the camera.
So he can do it. Like I think it just elevates the film that much further. Like especially like those top-down shots that you have, like the way that you executed those, I thought was just fantastic. Like it really elevates. You know, camera placement is important, folks. Do it. It's a good thing.
Yeah, but that goat walk cycle, come on, that was. Sorry.
See, it looks even better because it's coming. You're seeing it from different angles. Boom.
What I remember. I don't know why it stuck out to me, but I think it was really quiet for a little bit, like we were animating, and then I think Chris talked to himself and goes, "I can't believe I just spent an hour doing a walk cycle with a goat," like just quietly, and I was like, "Are we all going insane?" And because at the time.
Oh yeah.
At the time, I wasn't paying attention to what anybody else was animating, so I was like, is
locked in.
Yeah, I was like, is Chris having a stroke? Like, what's happening? Mm-hmm. And then I looked at the live stream and was like, oh, he's actually animating a goat. Okay.
So what you're saying
the number of comments... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so what you're saying then is that a significant portion of THAC for you was animating a goat, essentially. Like, there's a good percentage of THAC that was that.
Maybe I should have titled it "The Goat and the Old Man" because someone really took the spotlight. 90% of the comments on my video are all, "This is the goat," and I'm like,
"This is goated."
You had to know that was a possibility, though. Like,
I was too tired to think of that. But am I going to complain? Absolutely.
It was all
not.
by design.
Is this your Among Us animation?
I guess so. There was one guy who said, "You probably heard enough goat jokes." I'm like, "Thanks, buddy. You spelled that H-E-R-D. I see what you did there."
Here comes the dog.
Oh, that's Ned.
Yeah. He was, in fact, not a goat, to clarify.
Yeah, I do like one other thing. Like one last thing I will say is that I do very much like the opening kind of shot. The reveal of the goat is very well done, where you have the old man just walking, and then as he walks off, there's that slight hesitation, and you see the goat. Like that's a cool little reveal.
Thanks. That was the beginning of the goat falling over problems. But,
the start.
It's kind of fun to try and make it look like the goat's a little bit more happy-go-lucky, carefree than the old man. So just trying to put that little bit of bounce was kind of fun.
Yeah, I've done similar with like animation with like having to deal with I think like there are some dogs that are like that. Same kind of like leg.
Yeah.
having to try and hide,
very similar design.
trying to hide the THAC, and tiny amount of it to keep them up, and it's a lot of work. But yeah,
it's really hard to get character out of those animals, but it's pretty satisfying, I think, when you actually manage it. Like to be able to feel like, I got some character out of a prop that doesn't move at all, has no articulation points.
That's hard. I mean, it pretty much has to come down entirely to animation. You can't pose it. Like, a single frame isn't going to do it. It has to be the collection of frames.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna move on to, I guess, the top 10 of THAC.
Although just before that, I think we should mention the promising director prize winner.
Oh yes, true. Actually, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was really happy because we've been doing the promising director prize for THAC and Brawl for a couple of years now, and I think at the beginning, like, our hope was sort of this will give people who might be outside of the top 25 a chance to win a prize, but for the previous years, the people who would win it, they'd still kind of be ranking 20 something or like 19th or something. So I think this is actually the first one where the promising director prize winner is actually outside of the top 25. And of course, I know because I heard that, like, they were very, very close to placing on the top 25, but it's the first time when it's somebody outside. So
it is kind
really
of
cool to see.
You could almost call this a top 26, but I'm deciding to not call it top 26. But yeah, no, it was really nice to kind of like be able to showcase something outside the top 25, because I think sometimes it can, you can kind of feel like the whole idea of the promising director was to kind of like really kind of highlight someone who like is definitely got real promise, and is the type showing the kind of like potential to be someone that is going to be in the top 25 coming up, and we did kind of have a similar thing last year we had like a one-off, the creative, I think it was called the Creative Spark Prize, which was specifically just for THAC 2025, and also sort of partially kind of sponsored by Layden, who did the logo for THAC 2025, and we gave that to JYB, who didn't actually place in the top 25 in 2025. So we've kind of done something similar in the sense that we've had a prize for someone who's not placed in the top 25, but specifically for the promising director, this is the first time, and it's been really nice. I was really glad to kind of give an opportunity to highlight this one, because I think it was it's a really nice, it's a really sort of nice done film, and it's got some great set design and as well.
Yes,
incredible.
Oh yeah,
but it's somebody we've never even heard of before. We've no prior context for, so that's cool to be able to recognize and award somebody like that. And
also, to my kind of like surprise, they were actually watching the live stream, and I was kind of thinking like, okay, I don't know who this person is. That we checked on, like, I think being the judges the night before, we checked on forums, and they had posted one thing on the forums ever, which was just Merry Christmas, and I was like, well, I don't know if we know who this person is. So
what a kind soul.
So we were like, cool. So I wonder what we would do. So I was like, gonna have to like dig down into the the emails, try and find this person. Hopefully they'll check their emails, kind of thing. And so like Joanna, who made the film, she was actually watching the live stream. I was like, oh my god, thanks guys. I was like, oh great, cool. That's really cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm checking the channel, and 5 subscribers, 1 video. So in terms of a promising director with no prior known THAC experience, this is definitely a good qualifier for a promising director. I think you guys made a good call.
Yeah, this is a call to everybody watching to get those numbers up. Throw some more subs.
I mean,
Johanna's way.
I was literally gonna say that I don't know if any of you guys are already subscribed, but if we do, we could literally double the subscriber count right now.
It's been done. It's been done already.
Yeah. Say less. Done.
Say less. It's happening.
I guess we will probably head over now to the top 10. and with Jealous Swimmer by Jacob Crow. This was a really great entry. I'll probably end up saying that a lot, but yeah, no, this was really nice. I really like the the swimming animation is quite ambitious for THAC, I'd say, as well. And I really love the kind of flow with the camera, and like, and the way it kind of like goes backwards and forwards was really cool. I like the way it kind of goes sort of, like in sync with the music as well. It was a really cool one, and it's interesting with like Jacob Crow, sort of regularly. It's sort of like a regular of THAC at this point. Not always like making a lot of stuff outside of THAC, but regularly coming out with quite often quite high placing THAC entries as well. But yeah, this was a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to shout out the walking on tile, the walk cycle on tile. Like something I never liked doing, but like it was executed so well.
I would never do that for THAC.
No.
I tried it. I don't recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's a pain.
Pretty seamless.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought, man, like, how is he trying to do like the water effects until you pause and you realize it's the energy effect pieces covering partial minifigures, and it's like, that's pretty genius. Pretty much any animating medium ever says water is difficult. You kind of get it a bit easier in Lego if you pick the right parts.
Yeah. I will say I do like his lighting of the windows in the background, because I'm here rewatching
the lighting is phenomenal.
It looks. I think that's what sells it for me, is that it is actually in a pool. Is the windows of that shot.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I think in that opening shot, there's like a very subtle VFX edition of the ripples in the water that are reflected on the far wall. Of just the light refracting off of the surface of the water.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a great addition. Like, it was something, I think I had rewatched it and was like, whoa, I missed that completely. But it's just that extra little detail that adds a ton to the film. So yeah, great stuff, Jacob, as always.
Very good kind of like kind of imitation of like, sort of imitating the kind of like natural lighting. Like, everything feels like it's coming from outside. Those windows are kind of like illuminating the room, and I think it's very well kind of like motivated and sort of lighting, and the
way the Lego color that's the surface of the water catches the light coming in the windows just looks great.
Absolutely.
I also really like to highlight the score with it too, because it kind of reminds me of the Challenger score a little bit. And I think I commented under it. I was like, "This is my Challengers." I love this. I think it was in my top 5
This is my
favorites.
Challengers. Yeah.
Gotta love 9 Inch Nails, baby. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, however whatever they're calling themselves these days. I know they've been jumping back and forth recently.
Is that the actual soundtrack? Is that, I was trying to remember if it sounds like Radiohead or The Smile, but is it the Radiohead?
This is Radiohead. It's a remix.
It is Radiohead. Oh, okay.
From
it is. Oh yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I knew it was like some sort of Tom York project. I wasn't sure whether or not it was Radiohead or The Smile. But yeah, I do want to kind of say one more thing about like the actual splash effects. It's interesting because like I feel like water elements, like I've seen like many different versions of that kind of thing in Brickfilm sort of form over the years, and I've always been really impressed by a kind of level of like different effects that I've seen over the years. But it's interesting because compared to a lot of different sort of particle effects and stuff that you do sometimes get with brick filming, there isn't like a single best way of doing it. Quite often you'll see sort of effects or ways of doing it that are just completely different to anything else. And this one was like a very clever way of doing it. I think those particle effects, and also the way in which with the splashes, the way that it kind of, it gets like larger and then sort of, disappears. Like that was a really great kind of particle effect.
I do
Yeah.
think it was a nice, subtle, and effective revelation at the end of the film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really makes the film, because I think like I was definitely watching it thinking like, this is great, like I'm really vibing with this, but also where's the
Yeah.
story? I was a bit
It needs a little
Mhm.
plot
Yeah.
element. Yeah. So,
So-
that
Sneaks up on you right at the
yeah,
end.
just the very end just sells it. Okay, yeah, there is a bit of a plot element to it. Yeah.
and like that immediately
It
comes
reminded-
like, yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of like the ending of the old like forest fire films. Like he would do subtle things like that, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like because I didn't see it at first. I was like, so it's just a better swimmer. I'm like, oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. It's cool.
Nice and subtle.
Moving on to ninth place, we have got the Tales of Melia the Usurper by Osam Studios. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. I always seem for some reason get Osam's name like wrong, even though it's literally 4 letters. I you know, for like for the longest time, I literally had this thing of, I'm so used to seeing it one way that even though it doesn't say that, I used to think it was he was called Osmosis Studios. Just, but yeah,
I love it.
but yeah, Tales of Melia by Osam Studios. Yeah, I really like this one. I thought this was a really great. I really like the reveal. I thought it was really cool, like the way in which that kind of like, yeah, you know, he looks into the mirror. Like, I thought that was a cool sort of revelation, and yeah, like it's I'd say kind of very kind of you know, I guess like, you know, economical in terms of THAC, in terms, you know, and where like you've got like that one establishing shot with the castle, and then he kind of like walks in, but it's like it feels like everything works, you know, like you've got the right amount of kind of setup and just the right amount of kind of like establishing like, this is where you are, this is the kind of the kind of geography of this place, and
There are a lot of very clean camera tracking movements in this one, which is
Yeah.
another thing that I
I'm
would
so
always try
jealous
to
of
avoid
the tracking in this.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
really solid.
yeah, the shot where he's climbing is really great, and it's quite a long shot as well. The nice like reveal, and I'm actually interested to see. I kind of get the impression that like that was probably shot on the side, kind of like Spider-Man style, and then kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, but yeah, that was a really nice shot, and yeah, I really like the cinematography as well. Like I think there's some really nice shot composition and some nice close-up shots, and it's just like shot variety generally as well, and lighting, yeah.
This was the
Yeah,
the
Osam
one-
usually does really good cinematography. So.
Yeah,
as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is winning. I love, again, as you said, the cinematography, all of it. It, for it being so short, it still felt like I had watched an entire film, and it didn't feel rushed because, again, it was a minute long. But from the storytelling on the way in, and then just how the reveal was done, I was blown away by it. I was like, okay, if this doesn't place, I was like, that's crazy. But I was very, very happy to see it there.
yeah, for sure. I often think when it comes to like when you see the standard of films that come out like in, you know, within like before you get to the top 10, I'm sure a lot of people probably think about the films that they really love and think like, wait, is this like not gonna place? Like I often think about that, especially like once like you get further and further into the top 10. It's like, wait, where's this film? I guess we should probably talk about 8th place, which is the Choco Protocol by Frame 5 Studios. Austin.
Who's that? Who's
So-
that?
Kind of mid.
Sounds familiar.
I want to say, like right off the bat, that this was something that this was one that we definitely, you know, immediately saw. Like this was going to be like this is going to be very high. For one thing, I think like I think you told a really a compelling story that I think really develops over time, which is itself quite difficult in THAC. But nothing felt sort of rushed. Everything felt like you really took the sort of the pace. Took the time with the story, and I was just like really blown away by how much you were able to do with such a small set. Because I watched the documentary afterwards, and you're talking about like how you can see how small the sets were and like how really simple they were, but like you really sold it with the lighting and just a small amount of like sort of sort of background kind of textures that you have like in camera. And I think also with the way that you shot it and everything, like there isn't a point where I'm not like I don't believe that it's in this huge spaceship. Yeah, so that was something I was really impressed by, and I feel like it kind of shows that you're someone who has got experience with THAC as well, that kind of like you know like what to spend time on and what not to spend time on. You know like okay, I can make this work with a small amount, and actually like really put it off. And yeah, I think that the actual kind of like revelation element of this was really good as well. And it's interesting because I know you're talking about like the whole like Among Us thing. You mentioned it in the actual documentary. Like I can imagine being in that situation of like, oh no, like what have I done? And you managed to like delve away from that really well, into like a story that was like I had like a genuinely good twist and felt like original. So yeah, I was really impressed by this film.
Thank you. That was all Chris. Because I sent him this, and he was just like, "So this is Among Us," and I was like, "No, like literally not this."
Just be glad you didn't use the classic space figures, because that would have definitely been that's right. Yeah.
That was a part of it, because we talked earlier with I talked earlier with Sam, and Sam's like, I had this idea, and I'm like, okay, I think you can do it, but I don't think it should be a murder because it'll be like Among Us. And he's like, yeah, good point. So we deviate from that. Then a little bit later, I get a message from Austin. It's like, here's my script, and I see it's like, oh shoot, this might also be Among Us again. Yeah. But then I think the way you're able to like turn it into more of like a like the fact that the two people don't start immediately accusing each other, but then also like team up to figure out like what actually happened, that definitely helps it deviate a lot more. So I think you recovered it really well.
Yeah, and they weren't all going to die either. I was like, well, I'll just have the traitor and then the guys on the ground, the board members for the company. I was like, oh, okay, they'll just call back their little minion and it'll be fine. But I was like, where's the payoff in that? Like they're gonna expect like, oh, the bad guys get away, or maybe like the good guys prevail. I was like, no, they all have to die, and then that was it. And I was really happy with how that went. But to your point, William, about the sets, I tried something new with this that I haven't done before, where since I was working on such a small space, I thought, okay, I need to make sure that each part of the ship looks different. So I just built a bunch of panels and had my wife put a bunch of like random bricks on it. I'm like, this is a ship. It's not a nice pristine like cruiser. It's a research vessel. So this is gonna look fine no matter what. And so each shot, I would just change each one each time, and then it made it a little bit different. And that went into the lighting choice as well. So like, okay, engineering is going to be red, and then how like the service center was kind of dark and all that. I just wanted to make sure that I could convey that it was different parts of the ship and heavily inspired by Alien Earth, the show that came out this past year, and then Alien Romulus too. At least those were like the real world examples. And then from brick filming, no one's gonna be surprised if I say this, but like Nick Duron and Abduction. I was like, he doesn't make films anymore, and I'm like, I got to keep his memory alive a little bit. And then
Rest in peace.
right, and then and I wish he would make some films again here soon, but 5K Animations had some of the best creepy space animations I'd ever seen back in the 2010s, and it was a shame that there was just not more of them. So I tried to kind of pull from that a little bit as well, because they're both creators that I really loved watching. And the Abduction series has been something I watch every year, just for fun. So I wanted to kind of do a call back to that a little bit.
I can definitely see the abduction kind of influence, actually. Yeah.
Sure. Also, there's a shot near the start with the skeleton. The skeleton's just like laying down, but like upright, slightly sitting up a little bit. That reminds me of a specific 5K Animations film.
So I shot that, and I was like, oh no, this looks like something he would do. But then I was like, I don't think anyone will know that, so I'm gonna leave it. I thought about scrapping it.
Wasn't that like
mate Penta?
Wasn't that like his profile picture for a while? I thought. I don't know.
It's his banner.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Great shot. If I can just make this my own, let me just try to do something like that. And then I'm like, oh, this looks remarkably close, and I don't want to get like a plagiarism accusation. And I know me and Penta talked about it like a couple months back, where like where is that line of actually taking inspiration and making it your own versus straight up like I'm gonna take Chris's Valley Girl and just put it somewhere in my film or something like that. But yeah.
But of course, the whole plot is all original, and that was really like when I watched this one, I was thinking, yeah, I really hope this plays as well, because like it's a complete plot. It's not like a regular sort of THAC film. It's like a minute long. It's a complete story, and really just the ending and the revelation, of course, just it makes it feel like that really worked so well.
Thank you.
Well, that's just in hearing you talk about it, and like I mean, also just like seeing your documentary and everything, the amount of intentionality that you actually put into the film and all the aspects of it and how thought through they are. I mean, it's insanely impressive, especially during THAC. Like, meanwhile, I'm sitting here and it's like I feel like this might have been the entry that I had done where it was the most just like throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. I felt like there were a lot of aspects, I think, just from how removed I've been from animation as a whole lately, where like my intentionality behind a lot of things I didn't feel was as strong as I usually tend to be with it. But it shows through every single frame and decision in what you did, and it's a huge testament to what you were able to do. And I mean, also that the time, like the length of the entry, like has there ever been an entry that's like topped out over 4 minutes? I'm imagining there probably has been somebody else that's been crazy enough to also do the same thing. But like, yeah, it's I don't think there was any. Were there any from this year that even like beat out like 3 minutes? Like this is 100% the longest one from the year, I think. But I could be misremembering the playlist.
No, there was like I thought there's like a Bionicle one that was like I think like 6 minutes or something.
Yeah, there might
like
have been
that.
one or two that were like 6.
Yeah.
There was a couple.
Okay, so
the Bionicle one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. It might have been Bionicle, but it wasn't your average like minifigure film. I remember seeing it. I'm like, this is. I'm pretty sure it was Bionicle or Hero Factory or something.
Yeah.
Because those are difficult enough to animate with as is, let alone animate for 6 minutes, let alone animate under a 24-hour period.
Yeah, I'm seeing like there's a 5-minute entry, there's a 6.5-minute entry, and yeah, it was a Hero Factory based one. So yeah, I mean, to be able to do something that long and to tell a full story is like mad props.
Just wild.
Austin, I really like your lighting in this. Sorry, I'm rewatching it just so I can be fresh, but I like your use of brick stuff lights, like the flickering of those. I thought that was really a good touch.
Just turning off the whole thing. I was like,
Yeah. But I think it looks really nice, and yeah, and I like all the use of like the classic heads, like the what is it, the miners, the
Rock Raiders.
Rock Raiders.
I didn't know that
Yes,
they were
that
Rock
one.
Raiders. If I'm being honest, like I was not like that was not a product of my time with Lego. So when I went to the store to go buy them, they were like, "Oh, Rock Raiders." I'm like, "Is there gonna be space guy?" Like I don't. Well, okay. But
They are technically space. They're technically
They are.
doing asteroid mining and planet mining.
Yes.
So-
right.
But I just like
They're all clear.
the classic look of them. Like it's not like I like classic space. This feels like very
Different.
much like different classic space. I like it. It looks good.
An
mean-
evolution of it. Yeah.
Yes.
As I say, I think it kind of fits. I'm sure you were almost definitely thinking about this at the time, but they definitely look like they would fit like a Nick Dawn brick film.
yeah. I was like, this. It was giving me some nostalgia for that time, and I'm like, this is great. This is a great place to be. But shout out to everyone here who helped with it, like Chris fixing the script for me, Trev and Jared putting their lines together. They definitely made those work. And I didn't mess with any of the audio for the lines, and then Trev ended up sounding like, okay, like the helmet was on, and I briefly was like, I should change everyone's to sound like that, and then it was like 4 a.m. and I'm like, I'm not gonna have time, forget it. But
The concession had to be made. Yeah.
Well, one thing that you can do in editing is you can add an effect to the entire audio track, then just put all of the dialogue on the one track, and it'll instantly add that helmet reverb effect to every sound effect that you land on that track.
You throw your low pass, and then you throw your low pass, your EQ, your reverb all on that one track, and then just have everything on that. Yeah, learning that has helped me a ton in all the sound design stuff I've done over the years.
That would also be a great thing to know for THAC and Brawl. Yeah. Save some time.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, what do you use? Did you use DaVinci to edit, or did you use Premiere?
Neither.
Okay.
You're the Final
did,
Cut, dude.
Yep, all on Final Cut. Like that no signal on the panel was just a title in Final Cut that I just turned around and then made bright. This looks good. This will work.
Just was curious.
It's the film. It's the old black and white film grain effect that gave it away for me. That I knew it immediately. I was like, oh, he's using Final Cut.
But thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess moving on to 7th place, we have got Return to Sender by Flannel Shirt Guy. This one I really enjoyed. I think the Flannel Shirt Guy has made quite a few films like recently with in THAC and Brawl, and he's really sort of developed his sort of definitely kind of got a specific kind of sense of humor and comedic timing, especially with like the sort of like cast that he generally seems to have with his films, and it really sells the comedy. I really love the it's a very kind of brick film sort of sense of humor, I feel like.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it really kind of like it, and it's funny because you could take very similar material without the right kind of vibe, and it would be kind of like sort of groan inducing. But it just like, I think it just everything works so well, and as I said, I really like the kind of sort of like delivery, I guess, of like the no pun intended, of like the voice acting and I think it was also another like interesting kind of interpretation of the theme as well.
I've probably said this before since he's been like high ranking on a number of THACs and Brawls recently, but yeah, he has this sort of like specific like erratic looking animation, but it really suits the style and the comedy vibe and the voice acting performances, and it just makes it way funnier to have the figures sort of sort of jerking around the way they do. You know, it's not just the old basic boring stuff. It's funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I noticed him last THAC with his Swabby pirate film that he did that
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, and then his brawl film A Day Most Foul, like killed me. Like it was
That was
just
great.
so funny. Like his style is really hilarious and his comedy is just really good. And so after THAC this year, I messaged him on Instagram and like been talking to him, and like he's just a really good guy. And he's a good animator, and I'm really happy that his film made it to top 10 because it just really works for me. His comedy is just hits me every time.
Yeah, the clouds, like just these blocky clouds with frozen smiles darting around all over the place, is just the goofiest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the way they just fly around.
love it.
So funny.
And like they're almost like synchronized as well. It's just like, well, mostly synchronized. There's definitely parts that deviate, but just having them move in just like one uniform group all over the place. Just yeah, like you said, the erratic animation is wonderful.
And this one is also pretty long for THAC.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah. It's hard to do dialogue. Hard to do
Yeah.
it and keep it, as contained as you can.
I've actually not seen like, many people comment on this bit, but I do very much enjoy the kind of like, I guess like post-credit kind of gag, where like the kind of like initially he's like waiting for his mouse to arrive, and you assume it's for like his laptop, and then when the wizard gets to the wrong parcel and it's like an actual mouse. I thought that was a great kind of like subverting expectations.
Yeah, to have time to do something like that. Oh, I wish. Because I think actually, yeah, I forgot for my film I was gonna have an extra like end credit sequence, and it was something even I wanted to just put it in there, even if it was just dialogue from Jared, and I didn't have the time to. No, it's not that I wrote it out. It's just I didn't have the time. I only had 10 minutes to submit, like before the deadline.
Use my line, dude. You didn't even use my voice that I gave you.
Look, just put a title.
Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't.
Just put a title card at the end that says Kelvin will return in Avengers Doomsday. Problem solved.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That'll fix it. Yeah, that's going in the director's cut.
I expect my royalty check in the mail. You know where I live.
Your point
Yeah,
about how the animation, it's the kind of the style, like the comedy style. This reminded me a lot of Walter Benson and how he would animate some of his things.
Man, that's a throwback.
Yeah. But I just actually watched. I'm not going to say it. We'll be here forever. I won't go on that tangent. But that's what it reminds me of. I was like, oh, this reminds me of some of Walter's stuff, which is nice because I haven't seen that much in a while, so it was cool to see it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think like definitely kind of harking back to I guess like kind of like 2010s kind of era of kind of Brickfilms. Yeah. But yeah, I guess we should probably move on to sixth place, which is The Button by Silic Family Productions. This one was really, really well done, and one that really kind of stood out, especially someone who hasn't really kind of like, I don't think previously placed in the, especially not in the top 10. And
I think they haven't really been entering a lot of contests, but they have been doing some stuff that's I guess like underappreciated. It doesn't really get seen that much, but they had a film that was nominated in the Bricks Motion Awards last year. Mindless Idiots. That was really good.
Oh wow, that was
Oh yeah,
that was him. That was them. Oh, that was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Shout out to Mindless Idiots. But yeah, no, this one was
What'd
really
you just
great.
call me?
Yeah, shout out to Mindless Idiots. Yeah, that's our context is a bit weird. But no, yeah, this was really great. I really love the just like I guess the story itself is really great, and I think it I think like I remember someone said, I think it was Bert that said this actually on the stream, that like it's really effective how kind of like sort of genuinely disturbing it is. And yeah, like you have this like, I don't know, the kind of like mangled corpse kind of minifigure was like really well done. And I guess kind of like the brick film equivalent of kind of like, having sort of like sort of film makeup, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was I thought like a really good story, and kind of just like well kind of like directed, well kind of like voice acted, and yeah, I thought it was really well done.
Surprisingly dark. Like, I did not expect to see that much darkness in a THAC film. Caught me by surprise just a little bit, but
Not gonna lie, I loved it. I loved it.
It caught me by like literally by surprise. Like, the sound design in it. I mean, Trevor can talk more about this, but like the sound design of like the whole kind of watery effect. I don't know how to describe it, but it was really good, really good.
Yeah, it's difficult to make
funny
Lego
'cause-
feel disturbing in any way, just because you think toy
yeah.
automatically, but
Yeah.
pull it off here, pretty impressive.
I've tried to do that with horror project that we've already talked about that. Yeah, it's not easy.
Well, that's
it's
coming
really
out next year, right?
Sure, yeah. If you want to keep telling yourself that, but yeah, it's really hard to pull off.
I think that Trevor, you've got a pizza delivery coming soon, haven't you?
I'll take free pizza. I mean, I guess this is becoming a theme for me, like between the THAC entry and it actually. See, I guess Chris, you subconsciously planted the idea years ago. It's crazy. Yeah. So I viewed it for not placing. That's. But no, I mean, this with the button in particular, like the one detail I remember from it the most actually was I just love the little shuffle in between the chair and the couch when the guy like first enters the home and like sits down. Like I was like, that is such a fun little detail because that feels very realistic to life in general, but B, it's like it seemed like that was just like the most convenient way to kind of get around what might have been like a set design not mistake, but like a something that a detail that was like potentially overlooked in putting the set together. And it's just this extra little like piece of like lively animation that just kind of cements things a little bit further. And it helps to subvert the eventual vibe that the film ends up going down. It's just great stuff all around.
Similarly, go ahead, Will. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to literally just say that it's funny because I could definitely imagine walking into this, like watching this at first and thinking that this feels like the setup for like a very generic brick film comedy where he has a button and it turns into some kind of wacky thing of like, oh, suddenly he's like transported in time or something,
The similarly to Jacob Crow's entry, the lighting sold this so well. And at first I didn't get what the stark contrast was. Like we got basically to the reveal of, essentially car underwater, like and the death and everything. But I was like, why are they making this lighting choice? But then I was like, oh well, the car is and everything is behind the set, and the way the light comes in, like on the first time before you even see her, I'm like, oh, that's weird. But then that's obviously like the headlights of the car and everything. Like that was very, very well done, and it kind of gave me like the upside down vibes from Stranger Things. But it was great. It really, really sold it.
For sure, yeah.
I just really liked how
Also-
the story played out and revealed itself as it went along.
Also, shout out PBR, not sponsored. I love in that final shot, just the billboards. There's the THAC billboard and the PBR billboard. It's such a random little detail, but I love it.
I do know this particular animator or animators. I don't know how they do a lot of like noir adaptions of like classic stories. I think I've seen a couple of their stuff. They like to mix, like they have a blend of like real life like toys and Legos, like Legos real life toy. But like it's a mix of that. So seeing that in there is not surprising to me. It's a cool detail to like sell that it's that it's a city. But yeah, that's all I got for that one.
Plus, it's the mod element. You get that P in there.
There you go.
True.
That might have been actually the main reason why it's in that shot, because you look around and nothing else stands out as a mod element.
I actually forgot that the mod element or the letter element was P. So
It was all planned all along.
it was a,
It was all planned.
with a P.
What?
Just keeps going deeper.
But yeah, I guess moving
Time
on
to return
to...
to I think I left the stove on 5th place.
Absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
boy, we ain't gotta talk about it. It's all good. We talked about it enough.
No.
Impossible.
No, yeah, this was like absolutely like from the moment I saw this, and obviously it's quite early on in the playlist as well because you did finish fairly early, but
I finished it at
Speed demon, this guy.
12:35 a.m., which was 3 years earlier than last year. Last year I finished at like 3 in the morning next to Sam and Trevor.
3 years
and Chris.
earlier. That's
3 years
crazy.
earlier.
That's 3 years. 3 hours.
You're
3
a time
hours.
traveler.
Yeah.
This guy's no wonder he finished. He's a time traveler.
Yeah. I went forward and backwards in time to the days of THAC. That was my choice. My one day. So I
it's a good
finished
choice.
early
I support it.
this past time.
So you went back to like THAC 2022 and did like the like you did a perspective theme and then you went forward to
Yeah.
Yeah,
Had to get that full revelation.
5.
William had to stop himself there and be like, "Oh, I can't leap next year's theme. Oops,
Yeah.
I'm too ahead of the game."
Jared, I want to say your choice of using that face for Ron
Thank you.
was the best choice in the entire
Genius.
animation.
It also goes back to like what Austin said about using these classic faces. They're just so comical. They're so
Yeah,
stupid
they are.
looking,
Yes.
but they're so funny.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
Yep. We actually have
It's
Ron
really-
as an emote on our server.
It's really funny that that's like an actual like product that like has a lot of like very well put together published images that are were used to sell that product back in the day. It's so fun like looking back at the stuff from the 80s and the 90s and just being like, yeah, that's a thing they sold. Isn't that crazy?
But now, thanks to Austin and Jared, I really want to go to Brick's Minifigs here in Wichita and go buy all the classic stuff that I can. But
Yeah, the classic face
Also-
is so funny looking.
I also really like the fact that Jared put a wig on the stove. You can't see it.
I love my wife's stove.
Just
My stove wife.
I love you too, honey. But yeah,
Amazing.
I think we've said it a lot about this. It's such a good. It's so good, and
I think this was the funniest entry, and I said it on the results stream. The best revelation in the playlist.
Yes,
sweet.
hands down.
and it's just such a simple. It's such a simple.
It's
little
stupid,
reveal.
dude. No,
It's
dude.
stupid,
It's
but it's so
stupid.
simple. Like it's a simple idea that you've turned into the funniest animation.
Yeah.
Like I think we also made the joke like in the beginning of like if someone's gonna use the I left the stove on type reveal.
Yeah.
And then you ran with it and it just looks really good. And I also want to say that what's his name from Brick City Cops?
Oh, Bobby.
Bobby
Yeah.
just
Bobby.
chilling in the background of the animation.
chilling.
Just
Yeah.
just
Little
chilling.
Easter egg.
always
I,
like
I did love that as well, and I kind of love how it you almost set up this kind of like weird thing of like, are people gonna, is this going to be like almost like a misdirection thing? Like people think that this is going to be some sort of like, this is going to be relevant to like the actual reveal, and it has like no relevance at all.
No.
But, you know, like
None at all.
if you just had the stove joke, that would probably be good enough for THAC. But then to also like keep it going with, I think I left the refrigerator running. Like it was just the perfect ending.
That was all Trevor. I gave Trevor his pizza vampire idea, and he was like, "Well, here's this in return. You should
Yeah,
do
here's this in return.
Okay, what did
And I was
you?
like,
Yeah.
that's freaking funny. Let me write
Really
that down in the
cool.
script
Yeah.
real quick.
It's cool now on this podcast to hear about how much collaboration went on among these entries, and like
Well, yeah, I don't think I would have finished. Like, I don't think I would have even like hit the ground running on mine if I hadn't had Jared, give me a nice swift kick in the butt to just go with an idea he came up with. So yeah, and I'll also shout out Hotel Ugly, the band that that like their song. I think I left the stove on like that. When Jared had like kind of brought up the idea of doing that, I was like, ooh, I like this song has been one I've had on repeat a lot. I was like, go with that idea, like do that. And then just thinking of appliances, I was like, what's a weird like I was like thinking of like the kitchen sink. Can we do something with that? And then now it's got to be the refrigerator running if we're starting to get into inanimate objects doing crazy stuff.
I also think a really good touch was the sound of the Samsung refrigerator. Is it washing
It's
machine?
It's the washing machine.
Dryer, yeah, at the end when he's running away, because I sent it to my dad, actually. I think it was my dad, and he watched it. And he goes, that sounds like our washer, and I was like, yes,
Yeah,
because it is.
yeah.
and
It's literally our washer and dryer, and I was like, this makes no sense, but you know what? I don't care because it's a good outro song. Like I
Also,
don't care.
did you put our sig figs in the background of almost every scene? I thought I did.
Well, just-
I couldn't remember if you did
just-
that or not.
Just the first scene in the cafe. They're in the background of the diner.
I go.
I
I'll
said
go back and
this,
check that.
I think back or right when it came out, we were just reacting to everything. But there are few people that can take an idea like this. I know we kind of already hit it, but like can actually make it funny. Like I guarantee you, someone else does this. It's not as funny. It's not. The delivery isn't there. Like Jared has an insane ability to write good comedy, and then not just to write it, but then animate it in a way that marries the two. A niche praise, but will surprise no one. The running animation of the fridge, super underrated. Normally, like when you have blocks like that and you're moving them fast, they either just glide across and it's like, okay, he was lazy, but it was enough to where it's like, okay, this fridge is running, and it's not like going everywhere on the base plate, like straight line, fast enough. And I was like golf clapping that, like so good.
I've moved enough fridges in my life to where like I know how to like you have to go on the on the corner, then on the corner. So like that was like that's how I'm gonna animate it, because otherwise I don't know how else to do this.
You have to
So
like quote unquote walk the fridge.
essentially, yeah. So like this is the best way to animate that. That's one
that's a
block.
great little use of like real world experience and informing the brick film. Yeah.
It is funny though,
Also-
because like
Reference.
Yeah.
it kind of, it's a really well considered example of kind of not only character animation, but I also think kind of like sort of timing and also kind of like weight, because you kind of like it kind of feels like like almost like a person in a suit like running around,
yeah.
but also it's very heavy and bulky, and it feels like you can feel the weight to it, but it also feels like this thing that's alive, so yeah, it was exceptionally well done.
Thank you.
I want to say as well, shout out to Jay Silver, because
Oh god,
Yeah.
he's so good, dude.
so good.
Yes.
But
Jay pulled up this year, and he
I
showed
was-
out.
I was watching the
crazy.
playlist and I was saying Jay Silver has got to be the hardest working guy during THAC who doesn't make an entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And who doesn't
I loved
judge?
his contribution. Exactly. I loved his contribution to mine. I remember when I had like gone to him and was like, hey, or he actually I had put up like a voice cast thing. He came to me and was like, I'm interested in doing it. And I was like, yeah, like I'm not gonna say no to Jay Silver. Like, come on. And so I had said I was like, you know, if you could like send like a demo of kind of what you were thinking, I can give you some thoughts. And he just was like, I had so much fun doing it. I just went ahead and did all the lines for you. And I was like, well, I'm glad I like these because I mean they're phenomenal. Like I would have felt so terrible like being like, it wasn't exactly what I was thinking. Can we like go in this direction? But he just knocked it out of the park first go around. Yeah, he's so good at what he does. It's great.
Yeah,
Shout out Jay.
I've used him 2 years in a row now. Now I'm like, all right, well, I guess now next year it's gonna be the same thing again because like he hasn't like
Go for that
he
3P.
hasn't led me wrong one bit. So like he's just good. He's just good. He doesn't even need to take direction. I think he can read a script and kind of get a good gist of like what the film's gonna be, and he just goes with it. And I don't know, his voice is very crisp and very. I don't know. It's nice. It's like a nice stiff cup of coffee that just works on a rough Monday morning. Like it's just really nice.
Love it.
Good administrative voice, yeah.
Right, that is his
I'm gonna use
review.
that.
Right,
I
yes.
think we should talk about fourth place.
Yeah, so mistake number 1 by JYB Animations. This was another quite long entry actually as well. That's I find this like visually just absolutely incredible. Really cool kind of like I love that kind of like that's the opening shot that kind of swoops in and you've got like the sort of like subtly sort of jangling kind of like chains yeah, like, you know, something that I think I mentioned on the results stream previously was the kind of you know, with a lot of these films, a kind of convincing world, like, you know, start creating a convincing world. I think we definitely saw that with Trigger Protocol as well. You know, really creating something which feels like it's, you know, even if you don't have like a huge set or you know, yeah, it's just like the way in which like you know, with the cinematography, the way something is shot, and like just having a sense of scope and a sense of like there's a world outside of what you see, and this one was did that really well, and I think it's really interesting kind of set as well, like a really interesting kind of setting, and yeah, like it was a really cool story, very kind of sort of dramatic and just I guess cool, I guess. And yeah, I thought this was really good.
Once the THAC logo came up and it was animated, I was like, oh, we're in for a ride.
This is gonna be a banger.
He's serious.
I love the shot when the camera goes through the clock.
Yeah, beautiful.
So good. Yeah.
And this one's also like a good
vibes of-
4 minutes.
Yeah, even like the opening shot where he's like, you can see the light just like hitting the ground, like the way like where he's just laying down and like the chain shot. I mean, like that you can see a little bit through, and it gives it a sense of you know, again, like a much bigger space, and then again that transitional shot from like looking at him and then the clock. When I saw that, I was like, amazing. I was like, I want to do that. But yeah, it was. I love the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The vibe of this film, I think, it was a standout of the competition this year. Like it just, you know, from the lighting, shot composition to sound design. I mean, just all of it really comes together super duper well.
I also want to.
Yeah.
I want to say I'm a big fan of Brickfilms that play with frame rate. Like try like different forms of, like, I know Taco or Trouble. What is it? Taco Trouble? Taco. Yeah, Sean, that one. I just drew a blank. How you had different frame rates. Like I like Brickfilms that play with that and like I've recently been trying 24 on 2s. Not a fan of it, but whatever. I think I just upset
trying.
like everybody that's listening
That's
to this
hard.
podcast, but
No, I'm with you.
it's like I tried and it's fine, but this one it just is a different frame rate that just works. It fits the feel of the animation. So that's my input on this one is I just like the frame rate feel of it. So
Plus, it is fun to play with when it takes place in a giant clock tower, and you already had that time theme
Ex-
going on.
exactly.
I kind of like the idea of there is this kind of sense of time moving at a different sort of rate to like real life, or like, you know, like there's like something happening within this kind of like clock tower where it just doesn't move in the same way as it would normally, and I think that you see that in the way that the flames move, like they move very slowly.
Yeah.
They move like about kind of like almost like 2 frames per second practically.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because it kind of, not only is it kind of, you know, you're not having to animate a frame, you know, a flame like every single frame, which obviously with THAC helps, but it felt like there was an actual kind of like, you know, sense of like time moving in a different way. It conveyed that very well, and I just thought it was a cool visual generally. And also is the kind of, I really love the way in which it feels as though this kind of like clock tower is kind of like endless. Like if he was to, you know, like kind of like the depths of that clock tower, like when he falls, it just feels like it just goes on forever.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
The story here is super compelling. Like the whole like first mistake. It not that it went over my head at first, but I stopped my first watch, went back, and then did it again. I'm like, oh, okay, it's, you know, what a perfect version of you would be like versus, you know, actually you. And I think that is something that you don't get a lot of a sense of that type of depth, especially in a brick film. But it worked really well, and I thought should be highlighted. It was, yeah, very, very compelling. So,
and also the idea as well of the first mistake could also be him like the sort of defining event that actually makes him the person he becomes later, because what it kind of implies at the end is that he is, you know, this is the thing that caused him to come the way he did when he kind of grabs the egg, which I thought was a really cool kind of like way to kind of loop the story around.
yeah.
And I think like yes, it's a kind of interesting element as well of the idea of like the perfect version of him was kind of like his one flaw was his obsession with like the flawed version of him, you know, like that was his flaw kind of thing that kind of ended up defeating him. Like, yeah, that was a cool kind of like yeah, it was a cool like story element, definitely. But yeah, I guess now moving on to the top 3, we have got, starting off, Adrift Below in 3rd place by Joko. This one was very nice. A really cool kind of use of live action, I guess, starting off with that. And in a very rarely in the Brickfilm form, in a sort of non-comedic way. But also kind of like the way in which it kind of like very kind of seamlessly blends from that to the stop motion side of it was very good. And I really love the world of the underwater, like kind of that he kind of establishes in the film. It feels convincingly kind of like this underwater world, and I know that a lot of praise has been given to the like snail character with his like constantly changing face, which is really cool. And
He makes me so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But in like the best
The best
possible way.
way,
Like, yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, Joko has
Um,
certainly he's been one-upping himself in terms of making brick films that are like a huge, disgusting mess. It's like, why? How did you even get the idea in your mind to slather the set in all of this gunk?
Forgive me because I'm trying to remember. I'm having a hard time finding it for some reason. But did he actually animate anything underwater, or is it like a background type thing? I can't remember.
So you
I don't know.
the opening sort of the film has her like
Yeah,
there's like a live action bit where she's kind of like falls into the sea,
Uh-huh.
and then it kind of cuts then to the stop motion,
Okay.
which is
Okay. All right. I couldn't remember if he had like actually animated underwater or not. It's
Yeah, there's a couple of
Ignore
live
me.
action shots with water.
Ignore me. It's fine, guys.
Yeah.
It's-
Live action stuff on the beach. Yeah.
Oh, I found
Which
it.
I think I remember. I think I remember Joko talking about how cold it was doing that. Like,
Oh yeah, no.
yeah, not surprised, but
yeah, it would be.
I think in my opinion, the best shot of this entire thing was at the end where she washes up on the shore and the seamless animation of the shore. Like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, he had to either do that super fast to make sure everything stayed, or I don't know. I would love to get like a documentary about this entire film.
Yeah.
But such a good transition there, and I think like William said, like, you don't get the live action in non-comedy things that often. So
guilty.
like when I first saw it, I was like, okay, but it works. It works with this, and it ended up working really well. But that was probably my favorite shot, was that one on the end.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if the washing up on the shore shot might have been done at home. Like, if he just brought a bit of the beach back.
I think so. I think that's what he said that he did. I can't remember or not, but I know he posted a lot of BTS photos. And my favorite was the one where it's all the glasses and vases with all the different lighting around it to kind of give it that underwater underground system that with the snail and all that. And I thought that was just really, really cool and super well done, especially with all that camera tracking shots that he did with that when he spun around Jolly Jane and the skeletons when they grew up out of the sand. I thought that was just insanely cool.
I like how grungy everything looks.
Yeah.
Like underwater, it just feels, like you can see something and you can just tell like that's gonna feel gross touching it. That's how everything in this animation feels. Is like, I feel like I'm gonna touch it and I'm just gonna be like, yee. Like it, and that's a good thing because I mean he is underwater. It just looks, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, this is between this and First Place. These are two of the THAC entries where there are scenes where I go, I legitimately don't even know how this was done, how I'd approach it. Like, I would need you to explain to me how you did it, and even then, I might not fully wrap my head around it. It's impressive.
It's actually interesting, like the kind of concept itself of this kind of sea creature, this kind of disturbing sea snail creature that's like, kind of steals the souls of like dead people who are lost in sea. It kind of almost reminds me of like some sort of bizarre thing that would like exist in the kind of world of Avatar: Last Airbender in some way, like the kind of like Avatar state.
I could
kind of
see
thing.
that.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
The monster in the world that steals faces. Like that's what I thought of, and I was like, that's kind of clever.
Especially because you have like the face to change. The sea creature has like the kind of changing faces. That's kind of what made me think of it. Yeah.
Trev, you might be the only person who either gets this or sees this, but like with all the pale greens, the depths, the ocean, are you not thinking Cosmic Realm from Dark Ages? Because I'm kind of getting that general vibe here.
I am, yes, yeah, from Doom: The Dark Ages, when there being like this nautical kind of inspired underworld realm in the games. Oh yeah, I totally catch that vibe too, Chris. Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of like a general Lovecraftian aesthetic here for sure, but like the specific implementation with the color scheme and lighting makes me think of the way that Doom: The Dark Ages does that, which is kind of cool that they're able to pull like that sort of vast, unknowing, scary ocean element, then pull it to a smaller set with the snail, and then escalate it back out to this general fear. Like it's really cool.
We should move to second place.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Dragon by Austin Raimi and Sean Willits. This one was like absolutely phenomenal. And I absolutely love the interpretation, I think, of Revelation in this film. The way in which like it's this kind of like psychological thing that the wizard is kind of doing to the knight, and kind of essentially creating the kind of like prophecy of him failing by creating that idea in his head, essentially. I think it was that was a really great kind of the story side of that side, was really great. I think it's a really beautiful film as well. Like visually, it's really nice. Everything just kind of works so well. I think it's a really well told, really like well made film.
Especially for like efficiency during THAC, I just think there was a lot of really intelligent shot composition choices and editing choices, like from going from one shot to the next and all of that. And also, especially the one shot that like really impressed me was when the dragon comes out of the hut and the dragon is like bobbing around in the air a bit with the fire coming out. Like that must have been a filmy guy shot, because like he was always one of the most impressive animators in brick filming. And I was just like, oh yeah, there's some classic filmy guy stuff.
Yeah. This was my favorite of the whole bunch, especially just the one little shot of death when he appears right behind the wizard. Like, to me, that's just like, that seals it. Like, I don't know. There's something about this one that just really gravitated towards me, and I loved it. This was my personal number one.
If you can do like medieval high fantasy well, I think it's a winner in most cases every time. Not for this contest or anything, but like just generally, like it's if it's done well, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's kind of why I kind of moved that way, like with my last THAC and Brawl. But set design immaculate here. Would have loved to see how everything was put together, and the little the moving of the branches like behind the wizard, even though it's clearly blurry, like just the added detail of that again adds to all of the world building and everything. I loved it absolutely.
I also, and again, it's the same thing like with Austin and Jared's entry is the classic Lego faces, the classic Lego builds. Like I like that because it reminds me of when I was a kid, type of thing.
Well, that's the shot of the dragon chomping on the knight. Is that not just the T-Rex from Studios? We're getting full circle with everything. I noticed that pretty immediately. I was like, I love that. That's a great, effective, reuse of that set. That's great.
What's really funny with this is I think I was talking to Jared, and he told me to watch this one, and he's like, yeah, it's by Austin and Sean, and I was like, Penta made an animation?
I also thought that at first. I was like,
yeah. I was like,
let's go.
Like I watched it, I was like, this is really good animation.
I wish I made this for THAC.
Like I was sitting there going, "What Sean? What? I don't know what another Sean." And I think Jared was like, "Yeah, he did. He worked with Forest. Forest Fire." Was like, that Austin or that Sean.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, we also have an Austin and Sean here. So the probability next year of two Austins and two Seans doing back entries, it's non-zero.
Yes, let's go.
The storyline on this one just is, I thought, so effectively, like, self-fulfilled prophecy gatekeeping. Sign me up. Like, that's great. That's so great. Yeah, and doing it through, the medieval, the high fantasy gaze is just perfect. Yeah, there's
Again,
so much good stuff going on here.
Again, it makes
think
me
it's
want to
a-
go buy classic figures.
It's also like the shot at the very end. I think it's the last shot where it's him petting the dragon like it's a dog. I think that's really
Mhm.
endearing and so sweet and just a really nice button up to a very dramatic, fantasy film.
Definitely, yeah. I really like it. And I think that, yeah, I definitely feeling the kind of medieval setting brick film appreciation at the moment, just because like last year I did a really long brick film for Continue the Story with like a medieval setting, and
Yeah.
it was interesting because like I hadn't actually made like a medieval like fantasy brick film since like 2015, and it was nice going back to that. And it's interesting as well because the wizard minifigure is actually very similar to the one that we had in the continuous story as well. So yeah, I do really appreciate a really like a well made sort of medieval fantasy, and I also kind of like something that I was thinking about just then with you were talking about classic minifigures and stuff. There's something really nice about and I'd imagine that I guess this is probably I don't know whose Lego collection it is, whether it's a combination of both Austin and Sean's Lego, or if it's like just one or the other. But there's something I like about the idea of like, Sean using the Lego, using the same Lego that he was like animating back in like 2008, and now still using that same Lego, but now in like a really crisp kind of like 4K, film.
I might be on Take Island here, but I firmly believe that the classic faces, no matter what set you get them from, I think are just generally better for brick filming. Like if you can get an emotion out of a classic figure, it just, to me, it hits different, because now you've got all of these hundreds of thousands, it seems like, of different faces that you could do to get the exact perfect thing you want. But if you just take a standard base early Lego figure or just a head and put on anything and set it up right, I think it's better than the all the wrinkles and dimples and all of that. Like, just give me a classic figure, I'll make it work with the story, and it shows when it's done.
Oh, 100%. I think it's a case of one of those sort of examples of more is conveyed through simplicity. And also I think
Absolutely.
like it also kind of tied into that there's something similar with the way in which there is like a specialized piece for like everything in Lego, and whereas sometimes it's nice to make a custom made version, or even just have like the simpler old classic Lego version of something. It just has more of an appeal to it as well.
We have sort of complained before about when Brickfilms use like swapping out heads for different emotions, and it's like, oh, it's cut to a face that has a tear printed on it, or cut to a face with a distraught screaming mouth, and it's like it's too corny. It breaks the immersion somehow by cutting to this just like solid print. I'm just
Yeah, I will say, I feel like for my own personal stuff, I tend to do a lot of like face swapping, and like I'll tend to like use generic expressions to, just because of the base of parts that I have, I'll flip between a bunch of different expressions. And that's always been a gripe for me. It's like there will be like the perfect expression, but it's got like a sweat droplet like coming down the face.
yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
annoying.
if that weren't there, I'd be fully in on it. Like I guess I could whip out the nail polish, but I don't want to. The sanctity of that figure is out the window at that point. Of that
Walter
head.
Benson pulled it off so well. Like when he did it, I was not like, oh, you switched the heads. Like, call back again, Walter Benson, underrated, phenomenal animator. Like, he made it work.
Yeah, it is true that there are these things that we complain about, but there's always some people where it's like, oh well, they just made it work. For some reason.
Yeah, that's what it comes down
they're
to
just
at the end
better
of the
at
day.
it.
I do want to say because you mentioned it then actually with like your films is that like I think it comedically it can work. When you're talking about like I think it was as well of like I mean it's coming back quite far back, so whether or not you consider them like more kind of like contemporary minifigure heads or not, but I think I've seen like James or like Tony Angry Dog or Chihuahua, like in a lot of his films he's used like those like very emotive faces for a very comedic effect.
You can tell that he's doing it because he thinks they look so stupid. They look
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
weird.
It feels like a scenario where you have to accept the risk of whatever faces you're using in any given context. If it's comedic, you could probably get away with wilder expressions. If it's serious, you have to accept the risk that changing from this one head to the other, it's going to throw the audience.
Yeah.
Either you just don't do it, or you find some way to just soften that as much as possible.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly
it's
right.
all trade-offs.
It's something I always try and think about
100%.
when I think about like what one of my kind of go-to points of reference that's like I guess a non-brick film point of reference is Feathers McGraw from Wallace and Gromit, who's just got like very like hardly has like it just like literally just like two dots and a beak, and yet has so much like emotion, and a lot of it is just from like the very kind of vacant expressions, and yet like so much you really believe that this character is doing these things just through the kind of absence of detail, and like that's something which you can't really take you shouldn't take for granted, definitely.
I animate a lot with like flesh colored Legos for Ace Brickman, and there's a lot of times okay, all right, okay.
Ew.
But like
Yuck.
here lately, I've been like, I really wish I hadn't done that when I first started Ace Brickman, because I think it would have been so much easier to find heads for characters, especially for Ace in my collection. And now I'm like really glad they re-released the old Indiana Jones sets, because I've been able to change his head a little bit to fit that. But yeah, there's times I'm like, I really wish I would have just gone with the yellow head, because I just like the look of it. It looks good, and I was very young and naive. I was 25.
Weren't we all?
Now,
So
shall we talk about first place?
Yeah, so
I think we have to.
We've reached
Yeah,
the
I think
end.
we got to.
Yeah.
we have Memory Discrepancy in Sector C by Stanley Kubrick, which I kind of feel like was probably the least surprising first place imaginable. But yeah, absolutely well earned, and just truly incredible. Like, I just think like, I guess talking about kind of, because I don't know if you've mentioned Stranger Things previously, actually, but like it definitely kind of reminded me a bit of like Stranger Things to an extent. But like I just think like just conceptually, just like a really really thought provoking film, and just like visually just incredible. It's like I was a huge fan of the trilogy, or actually sort of quadrilogy of films that Stanley made last year for the space sort of films. The first one being his first place winning entry from THAC last year, which was truly incredible there as well. And then also seeing that kind of like series continue, and also being someone who actually managed to put it off, saying like, oh yeah, like at the start of the year I'm gonna make these films, and then actually make those films is very rare in brick filming. But and I'm not sure like many of us in the room can kind of relate to that. But
No, not at all.
Yeah.
but yeah, those films like were like truly incredible. But then this feels like it's like falling onto like a similar vibe, but it's distinct enough from it where it's very much its own thing. And but like again, it's just like really just really great.
it's kind of like an evolution of an already like evolved life form. Like I don't, maybe that analogy is too crazy, but like it's just a super cool base that he's built off of, and continually evolved it as he's gone along, and it's just madly impressive.
Yeah, he just has all these skills that he can just immediately plug into THAC or something. Cause and he's so good at sound design as well.
Yes.
But yeah,
I need to pick his brains on it more.
we mentioned on the results stream that this is the first time ever that somebody has won 2 THACs back to back, which is kind of amazing actually, because THAC has been running for a long time, and of course there was less entries in the earlier years, so it is actually quite remarkable that nobody's ever done 2 first places in a row before. But this is just amazing. Like watching this, it was one of those films where you're like, how is it possible to even do all of this for THAC? But I really enjoyed watching it the first time, and then watching it, multiple times, and trying to observe, like, okay, how did he do this? And seeing things like, okay, you've got like the shot with like the tentacles going around, and of course, that's kind of like just a few frames looped of tentacles, but it keeps the movement in the shot. And like a lot of those big wide overhead shots, it's like mostly the same set, but just add in or take away a thing or two and just change the lighting. So you have all of these shots that look really impressive, but it's largely the same camera setup. It's really clever attack.
I think
there is so much of this film that I straight up have no idea how he did it. And I'm of two minds. Do I want to figure it out, cycling the skills for myself? Or is it better just being amazed and just never knowing? I really don't know.
Let the magic trick, persist.
I share that sentiment. But to William's point about Stranger Things, I thought it was a great kind of mashup of Stranger Things and Severance on Apple TV, if you've seen it or not. Like a huge crossover just in vibe, really only. Like obviously the story is its own, and that's great, but just with how the emotions are conveyed through how it's shot, very reminiscent of Severance, where in that show there's plenty of dialogue, but a lot of the major moments are told through no dialogue and through the interactions of whether they're trying to, well, I won't spoil it, whatever they're doing in the show, whatever interactions they're doing, like that is what makes the show so good. And so with this, I think one of my favorite shots, I think it's at the 54-second mark, but this is more just about depth than anything. Right before the door closes, it just looks like that whole building is just full of different hallways and rooms. It's just it really, again, sells it. I know I've used that a lot today, but if we're going back to vibes again, vibes insane for this. And I would love to see a continuation of this particular story or universe in something else down the line. I think there's some gold here.
Definitely,
the micro scale exterior shot at the start is incredible.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah, it's so great.
I will say this is the first time I've watched an animation where I had to go back multiple times, because the first time I watched it, I was like, "This is beautiful. I have no idea what's happening, but this is beautiful." I had to go back a few times just to kind of stop. We had to figure out kind of what's going on, like I did, but the exterior shot was really good. Just all of it, just was.
Something that's so underrated, I think, in all his most recent films is definitely the color grading of it all.
Yes.
It's so like VHS Super 8. I mean, with the grain included as well, but it's just like that orangey glow to that color grade that really sells it. It really separates itself from a brick film to a really beautiful vignette, like sci-fi vignette that you would see on on some channel back in the day, watching something from World of the Worlds or something like that. I don't know. It's just his last few films have been just so unfair. I don't get it. I don't know how he does it.
Unfair. I love it.
This feels weird, but I feel like if you didn't have his color grading in this film, it wouldn't have worked as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you.
The video itself, like, it wouldn't have had that same feeling. It would have been like, okay, like it just would have been another animation. It's the color grading and the grain and all that made it.
I think it kind of pays tribute to kind of like that home video, that memory, that warmness that you would get from a memory like that, and it kind of pays tribute to that theme that he's kind of going for in this short.
I think it's a very interesting. It's funny. I've been sort of thinking about this a lot recently about Stan Lee's work generally. That he is one of the easiest people to recommend to anyone when it comes to like brick film output, because he is someone that like you don't have to have seen prior brick films to appreciate like this is like genuinely like very good art, and I think a lot of the stuff that he does is very kind of is actually surprisingly quite accessible, and also kind of touches on themes in a very interesting way. Like this film, like looking at the sort of like I guess the sort of almost like dark side of nostalgia from in a kind of like psychological kind of like horror kind of perspective. Like it's kind of turning like being trapped in the past as into like a horror. But it's also like it also kind of at the same time has some kind of like message to say about that, like it kind of touches on the idea that like we shouldn't be we can only move forward, that's like there's just so many layers to it that are just are really good.
Maybe we should stop, nostalgia baiting over the classic Lego faces and move on with our lives and move on to the new.
Oh no,
the new Prince.
Okay,
Maybe that's the theme.
I have no room to talk. I'm using flesh-colored sense, so I got nothing.
Maybe Stanley can teach us something with this. I don't know.
I really just want to pick his brain for like 15 minutes and be like, what are you using? How are you doing this? What was your thought process?
Yeah.
Like, I just want to.
It's also like the fisheye lenses that he uses as well that really sells that
100%.
effect of like, like a security camera type. We're peering in on something, and it's really that privacy feeling. We're kind of just getting through that.
A couple of probe lens shots in here as well.
Yeah.
I think that's unfair.
My thing that I can't get over is just like the intense amount of depth and like reflectivity to the lighting. Like I can't think of another brick film that has ever like put that to screen with this amount of intensity. I've gone through it a few times. It's just been like all the yellows and the oranges are just so warm, and the way that they like actually have kind of like a haloing effect like coming off of them. It's like I gotta know the lenses used, the plugins used in the edit. Like it's really insanely well crafted.
Yeah. And we always talk about how we don't care about getting views that much, but it is remarkable that for some reason this already has 10,000 views.
Oh wow, yeah,
I saw that.
I didn't even catch that. That's bafflingly awesome.
I don't know why, but for some reason it just hit YouTube just right. And it's one of these funny.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was gonna say I think it kind of touches on some of the things like almost like SCP and
SCP stuff.
kind of like
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, he'd get loads of views if he did SCP animations. Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I would really be curious if because there's a whole thing with Stranger Things that's a topic for another time, but people are talking about it. I wonder if this kind of caught some of that hype. Like people are looking for that sort of like strange, abnormal, retro. I'm wondering if this like caught people's attention in the middle of that zeitgeist is what I'm saying.
Man, I wish the Duffer Brothers made this. God.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Hey, we can't do this without Marcus. He'll kill us if he can't have a good rant.
I would say that like if you wanted to get meta about it in terms of Stranger Things, there is something you could almost say about how touching on the themes of how nostalgia. can be a dark thing and can ruin things.
We should probably send a link
Stanley,
to
you're
the Duffer
breaking our
Brothers real quick.
minds, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stanley, you're
I
just
mean,
destroying me.
THAC
I mean,
did
it
take
is
place
really-
this year, right after the finale dropped of Stranger Things. Like
Yeah.
it was days after.
Yeah.
So maybe, but I mean, hey, if more people could see it, because YouTube's not gonna push it out. So.
It's a funny thing because like
I mean,
he spent all
clearly it
of
is.
last year. He spent all of last year making his trilogy of like 10-minute long hit amazing Brick films, and of course they just get like 2,000 views or something, and then you make a film in one day, and that's the one that takes off. But of course it's very deserving anyway, even if it was made in one day.
And it will only
Yeah.
it's the type of thing which will only like make people go back to his other stuff more and appreciate them. Like it very much like it's for anyone that kind of is attached to this film, they will definitely get something out of that trilogy as well, and also Star Collector, which is kind of connected to that. It's
Yeah, Star Collector is great.
Yep. I know when Star Collector was Brawl, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. I remember that one specifically talking about how Stanley's animations are really accessible. When I did Brawl, I showed my family my entry. They're like, "Wow, how'd you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I did all right." Like, well, who won first place then? And like, all right, sit down. And I show them Star Collector. Like, okay, we get it. Like, yeah.
Star Collector.
This is the kind of thing we are all up against. You have to appreciate it.
Yeah.
His Tales of Terror episode was so like crazy good. I don't know. It just caught my eye, and it's just there's a reason why it got first. Like it's just.
Yeah, of course it's
awesome.
like kind of predictable. It's like, well, of course Stanley won THAC again, but it's like, well, he's making films that are this good, so
Like I said, it's unfair.
that's all there is to it.
It's unfair. We got to make a rule or something.
I totally thought that Forlorn had won back to back, but he's just won like what 2 or 3, just in
Forlorn
total.
he won THAC 10, THAC 12, THAC 14, and THAC 2024, I think.
Yeah. 2004. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
That sounds right.
so he kept doing every second THAC he'd come first. For a while.
Yeah, every other.
Yeah.
You got to keep the expectations down a little bit. Yeah, got to humble himself.
The stats for Stanley Kubrick is kind of insane for the last like 12 months because he won THAC last year. He came third place in Brawl. He won the Tales of Terror contest in first place, and then once again came first place in THAC. So that's kind of insane. And then on top of that, he also made the trilogy.
Yeah, the trilogy that weren't even made for contests.
And it's amazing, especially because like I've been thinking about this a lot recently. That like I think after I saw Memory Discrepancy, there's like I feel like Stanley Kubrick is defining brick filming at this current moment. Like he is like you definitely have like individual brick filmers in certain eras so you kind of think of as being like this person really kind of like is shaping like brick filming at this point, and Stanley kind of feels like he is the brick filmer of this moment. Like
He is.
for sure.
I hate to say it,
He's
guys.
the brick filmer of all time.
I hate to say it, guys. We're the old breed. He's the new breed. Let's just
You know,
get
it's a
that
matter
out
of
of the
time.
way.
We're not even that old, man.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, what are you talking about?
I feel like we're super
Okay.
old in brick film years though.
I
Yes.
guess that's true. Yeah.
like
Like imagine Nick Duran coming back. Everyone's gonna be like, no one's heard of him, and I'm gonna be there dumbfounded and just like,
like I think he is the definition of the new breed of brick filmers that are coming up. They're experimenting and trying new things.
And they
They're
have
I
probe
know.
lenses.
yeah, like, they're spending more money than we ever did.
Man, I'm sitting over here with my freaking C920. He's got a dang pro.
I got my A7 III with
What
the
else?
lens I bought when I was in college.
What am I doing in my life?
Yep.
What am I doing wrong?
I don't spend money on
gotta
equipment. I
upgrade it.
spend money
It's-
on modular sets because they're
Yep.
everywhere.
It's just a reminder I need to actually move on from a kit lens and get some of my gear upgraded.
But I use the kit lens.
Oh, well,
I'm not-
yeah, I definitely need to upgrade then.
you will
Okay,
realize
yeah,
by the
go ahead.
time we actually do the upgrading, Stanley will have moved on to something better, and we will then be like, ah.
It's like you're telling me they've made Probe Lens 2? What's going on? This is too
2 free
crazy.
sandwiches?
This man's he's like making brick films on a freaking like Alexa Mini or like a Red or something like that.
He gets this multi-million-dollar. He edits on a quantum computer. Like,
I'm still
okay,
over here, my
sure.
Logitech QuickCam 9000 over here. Like, what am I doing wrong?
Upgrades, people, upgrades.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, I
Someday.
think
Someday.
we probably should wrap things up because I've just realized we've actually been going for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's been a second.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess-
we've been chatting.
Probably because there's so many of us here, everyone has to get their take in.
We've been going for a very long time, both in the kind of career brickfilm career sense, and also in recording this episode sense.
It's time for us to wrap it up. It's time for us to wrap it up in both areas.
Evidently,
I'm just getting back. I'm in my prime now.
evidently still passionate.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
say that as my
Very
back and
much,
knee
yeah.
hurt back.
We still got a lot to say about Brickfilms. But no, yeah, guys, this has been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for
Yeah, it's been great.
coming onto the pod and doing a full on kind of like, you know, combo of Frame 100 and a Brickfilms podcast, which has been sort of due for a long time, I reckon.
Yeah. Thank you for having
No,
us.
thanks for having us on.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah. Thank you
And-
guys.
Right, now we got to try and find a way to like actually wrap this up because
This is always the hardest part.
yeah, it's like
Keep
It-
brick filming,
We ain't got any plugs.
doing things.
yeah.
Don't
Well,
do drugs.
everybody subscribe to Johanna Data.
Yes.
Johanna.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah.
And come back for Brawl.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Yes.
we'll see some of the people in here.
I will
Exactly.
be there.
I like it. I'm gonna try.
I'm hopeful to finally enter. Yeah.
I'm gonna try as well.
Hey, do y'all know a date yet? Are y'all able to announce that?
Yeah,
Well, you know, most likely similar to how it's been last year.
Is it the last month of June?
Yeah,
The last-
June, early
The
July.
last month of June.
last-
shoot.
it's the last
Last
week
month
of June.
Jared, you are
First
time
3
traveling
years,
too much.
and
dude.
now it's
You are
the
time traveling
last
too
month of
much.
June for us. This is great.
Oh man, that sucks. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
That's,
Well, we'll probably make sure that it's after Steinerite, which is on the 20th of June this year. Because obviously, we'll want to be at home
Gotcha.
to
Yeah.
enter Brawl
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Makes sense.
that's the early leak is most likely sometime after the 20th of June.
I don't want to promise anything, but I'm hoping to make something more ambitious than Epic Toilet Success, which I did last year. But, yeah, we'll see.
I'll try to make an actual finished film this year with a third act. That'll be my goal.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I convince
I'll try
you
to
guys
have one
do
actually
some...
materialize.
Can I convince you guys to do some Brawl Discord chats with me? We all in? Can we do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
I'm down.
Live stream the whole week.
Yeah.
Don't chicken
Honestly,
out. Go
You know
for
what?
five
There's
days
5 of us
straight.
here. We can rotate streams on the cameras.
There you go.
I was gonna say
My-
Twitch University. Never heard of it.
My,
The Brawl. How many hours would that be? I can't do math.
A lot.
It's
The
a lot.
200 something hour stream. I'm there.
So yeah, we'll see you at Brawl,
Alright.
and now I think we really ought to say goodbye.
Yep.
Bye.